I'll go to the full bandwidth here. Here's number one. Mary had a little lamb. Her fleece was white as snow. And that's bringing up the low end all the way. Mary had a little lamb. Her fleece was white as snow.
All right, so wait, I got to expand my my receive bandwidth to really check it out here. So was that 5? Is that your max?
No, I'm not at 5. You only have to go to 4. Maybe you might have to go a little over 4. But I went down lower on the low frequency. Here, I'll do it. Go back to where I was. That's where I was. That's at 100. Here, that's at 200 hertz. It's rolled off at 200 hertz. Mary had a little lamb. That's 100 hertz. Mary had a little lamb, and that's 10 hertz. Mary had a little lamb. Do you notice a difference in the low end?
Yeah, I actually like the 10 better.
So this is, okay, so I'm running the widest bandwidth I can run right now, 10 hertz to 4,000.
Okay, I'm going to go up to 5. How wide can you go on receive?
Yeah, I can go to 5.
Okay, this is at 5 wide now. So Mary had a little lamb. Her fleece was white as snow.
Yeah, I don't notice a big difference. You probably have to change some of the settings and add more. Of course, these radios really, I don't think they hear much above 4. I mean, the filters and everything, you can go wide like that, but I just didn't notice much difference. But talk some more and I'll listen.
Kilowatt Bravo 2 Zulu Victoria Papa.
Okay, yeah.
Right, who did that?
Randy.
Hello, Bill. Who's in there with you? You covered up somebody.
Ray's in here.
Oh, really? Go. Hello, Ray.
Hello, how are you?
All good in the Toad Harbor hood, brother. How you like Bill's new audio?
Yeah, doesn't he sound good?
He really does. I think he sounds better than I've ever heard him sound.
Hey, and I even got rid of all the RF here. I cleaned up some wires, ran things differently, and put some Toreds on things, and I haven't heard any RF now.
Well, you sounded as good last night as you did tonight, but a little bit of RF with you. But boy, you got that working well for just first night with a flex. Second night, well, last night was the first night, and you sounded good last night. So good for you.
Yep, now to 7610. So I'll probably put it on QRZ for 2700.
I don't think you'll get that much for it, but good luck to you. We'll see what happens, I guess.
So anyway, I got a lot of stuff done today. I ran around. I picked up that book. I read about on my page 68 on that book. That book just seems awful hokey to me. Did you read it?
I haven't even opened. Well, I told you. I looked at it a little bit, but no, I haven't.
It reminds me of the damn books by Hynek. Very poorly written. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. If it, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true, but it's just not written very good.
What's the one, The Day After Roswell? Have you read that?
Geez, I don't know. I've got 2. So I think so.
One's a pretty thick one. I just got that one in the mail tonight. He sent me that one.
Day After Roswell. That got the blue cover on it?
I don't know. Maureen told me it's here. It's a big, thick book, about an inch and a half thick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one I got. I read that. That was, it's poorly written, really. It's funny because the other day I was sitting here and I happened to see James T. Kirk wrote Memories, Star Trek Memories. And I said, well, I got nothing to do. I'll start reading that. And I read maybe 60 or 70 pages in that. And now that book is really well written. I mean, the difference between the guy who wrote that Star Trek Memories and those flying saucer books is like, hey.
Well, one's supposed to be Aren't they different though? Different kind of writing. One's supposed to be about segments of people's lives.
No, they're just written poorly. That's the only thing I can tell you. The Star Trek Memories is really, really well written by, like a professional newspaper writer or something. And the other books are like written by some kid in high school. They just don't seem to, they just don't jive well.
Okay, very good. Well, let's go back to talking about how good Bill sounds.
What mic are you running, Bill?
This is that Shure SM27.
Okay, well, it's a decent mic, so it should sound good.
Yeah, I actually tuned everything up just by using headphones on monitor, and I think I got it nailed in.
Well, like I said, anything sounds better than 2.9 kilohertz.
So the 7600 right now sells for $27.99. You're not going to sell that for $2,700.
No, that's for sure. They came down on the price to 20 what is it? $27.99?
Yeah, at Gigaparts, $27.99, free shipping.
Yeah, they're gonna have to come down to $2,000 to sell them things. That poor company. Like I said, I'm kind of half really pissed off at them for doing something so stupid, and on the other side, what can I tell you? It's too bad.
Well,
Whiskey Golf 2 Echo. Good evening.
A lot of good ones out there. I got lucky. It seems to not really be too bad on mine. So, but if I'm going to give it away, I'll just keep it.
I'll guarantee you that you've got a display problem with your radio. You're just not wanting to say that you do. Not that you're trying to... No. That didn't sound right. Not that you're trying to be dishonest at all. You just aren't willing to admit that you see ghosting or shadowing or your displays getting lighter or your eyes are bad. But I think every one of them have a problem with their displays.
I see none of that in my radio.
Hello, Carl.
Which radio did you get?
Hello, Randy, and Bill, and Ray, and whomever else might be there.
You hear Carl's wonderful audio? That's full-bodied, very readable, superb audio.
Oh, thank you.
Tell you what, as far as the readability bit, you got them all covered.
Hey, I did what I was told.
You listen well, my friend.
So, Carl, what radio do you have?
7610.
And did it go back, or is this straight from purchase?
No, I got it back a week ago today. I had the screen replaced, solder joint fixed, and Q3333 replaced for preamp 1.
How long did it take you?
I want to probably no more than a week, but I was away, so I had them hold it until I was heading home, and because I didn't want it coming here while I wasn't around.
So, have you ever had the 7300?
No, my last radio was a 746.
Have you ever seen the display in the 7300? I'm just wondering if yours looks more like the 7300 now. On my 7300 is much more contrasted, I guess, or the blacks are much blacker and it's crisper looking.
I thought you didn't have a problem with your new radio.
I don't have any ghosting or anything, but I said right from the beginning it definitely is not as good as what's in the 7300.
That's because you've got a bad display.
Well, to answer that question for you, I always thought the original screen was fine until after about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, one side of it started getting brighter. And now that I got the new screen in here, the background of it is dead jet black. I mean, it's really black. The contrast is way better than the original.
Bill, is that radio still under warranty?
Absolutely. It's going to be heading back.
Yeah, well, then that's what to do. Send it back, have them go through everything, tell them, didn't you tell me your preamp that didn't work once in a while?
No, never had a problem with the preamp, and I just checked it too. I was actually doing a side-by-side comparison with this and the 7610, and it works because the waterfall changes, like it's bringing in more noise. But I'll tell you what, compared to the preamp on this sucker, there's no comparison. This has got 20 dB preamp. You know, you got minus 10, minus 20, 0, plus 10, plus 20.
Yeah, well, whatever. Just send that other radio back, get the screen changed, tell them to check the preamp solder connections and everything, and then when you get it back and it's still sealed in the box, then put it up for sale for like $2,500, and maybe if you feel lucky you'll get it. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Be sure you send it to Matt.
Yeah, I definitely have to send it to Matt.
You know, Ray?
It cost me $108 to ship that with the $3,000 of insurance from Schenectady.
Now, do they ship it back free?
They should be covering that. That's kind of BS.
Well, yeah, no, it didn't cost anything to come back. You would think they might, seeing as how it's a known problem, but I can live with it.
It only took you a week to get that radio back from repair?
Well, I sent it to them on a Monday. They received it on Wednesday. I called him the following Wednesday and asked about it, and he said it was done. So they had it done within 7 days at their place, but I didn't have them ship it until a following week after that because I was on vacation.
That's pretty damn fast turnaround, wouldn't you say?
Well, I thought so, but, they're probably getting pretty good at it. One thing I would mention, though, is a month or so ahead of time when I told him I was going to send it out, I said I want to send it out when I'm away on vacation. He says, well, hurry up because I'm getting low on screens. Now, I don't know what that means for now, but that's what he said.
No kidding.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, yeah, I better get it out there then.
Well, give him a call. Every time I've called there, I've talked to, I think it's Gene or Matt, and they've been very helpful and really good people to talk to.
He's the one in, is it Minnesota? Is that where he is?
Yeah, it's, no, Michigan. Hang on a minute. I got the paper here.
Yeah, he's in Michigan, and you got to make sure you're part of the Toad Harbor group. It won't get you anything, but Matt knows us pretty well. He knows who we all are.
St. Joseph, Michigan.
Okay, yeah, he works right out of his house. I looked at his house. It's like in a neighborhood. It was interesting. So, okay. All right. Well, I guess that's something to do for this weekend, is boxing it up. So, you put 3,000 insurance on UPS or FedEx?
I did UPS, and they told me about call them up first and let them know it's coming, because there's a link to a page you got to print and fill out for warranty service.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that too. So, that's weird. My SWR just went high for a second.
Cosmic rays.
Did you work today, Bill?
Oh yeah. I got out early though because of Good Friday. My boss said just get in there, let everyone see you, and then you're take. So I worked till about 1:30.
What kind of place do you work at?
Well, we're on vacation this week at school.
Get in, let everybody see it, and leave.
Well, yeah, you ought to try that more
I
often,
mean it like
Randy.
that. I mean, to make your presence there, because I have to go around making sure there's no problems. So I went in. Is there any issues? And there's no one around. So basically, I asked the janitor. He was about the only one there.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a little different than the school district I was in before. There was a lot of people working during vacation.
Is there somebody in the background trying to get in? You got a call sign? Go ahead.
That's got to hurt, Mark.
Well, it wasn't me, but W-A-2-E-E-S. Hello, Doc.
Hi, Randy.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm better than the average bear, boo-boo. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. It's a Friday. I've got a new block to make tomorrow. It's a brand new design that we came up with ourselves, and I'm thinking it's going to be a great day. And I'm styling tonight, man.
Hey, way cool. Well, the peepers are hollering, and I'm happy.
You know it's going to be a good night when you hear the peepers, right?
Tell us about this new block.
Well, if it's a new block, does that mean you have a new mold?
From one of those bass coming out the water. Oh.
Is that a musical group like the new?
Yeah, the bass. I'm sure I love the peepers. Yeah, it's a new block. It's called the Serpentine. I got to think of the name of the group we are promoting. Aubrey, A-B-R-I. You could look at that. And we're doing the Serpentine block tomorrow.
But is it a new mold?
It is. It's a new mold that the company that makes molds really effed up. It took them way too long to get us the mold. We couldn't have our samples for our review. The mold company actually paid to have foam blocks made so they would look like the blocks. And then we got the mold finally, and it took me 2 days to fix the mold, to get the molds right.
And who pays for that?
Well, we pay for that, but I talked to the president of the Products Group today, and I said, look, there's no way I can sign off on we're going to pay for this mold. There's just no way I can do it. So I said, we have to talk about this next week and then get with Besser and explain to them that we're not paying for these parts. Now, there's parts of it we'll pay for, but the majority of it we're not going to. I say we're not going to pay for. Now, I don't have any clout. I'm the mold guy for the country, for the group, but I'm putting my foot down that we're not going to pay for this, but that doesn't mean anything. They can overrule me easily.
Could you build that mold?
Well, that is exactly what I explained to them, that I could absolutely build that mold and do it a different way. And I explained to the mold company that built the mold the right way to build the mold, and they agree wholeheartedly, by the way. So we might wind up cutting it out for them with the water jet because they don't have a water jet. And then we can, cut it out for them and send them the parts, and they can do the final milling, or we can do the final milling. It doesn't matter to me.
What kind of country do we live in?
Oh, and by the way, I was told today that both of the other block plants have been sold.
Yeah, are they going to move them, or are they going to just start running them in place?
Run them. I don't know what's happening. There's a lot going on there, so I'm pretty excited. I'm actually really excited to find out what's happening.
What do you mean sold? Is that part of your company, or is that your competition you're talking about?
It's okay. So you don't know the whole deal. Do I dare go into it right now?
No.
You don't have to dare. You can tell us
I
all
would
about
go
it at
into
the,
It's
the big
old
meetup
stuff,
in
and
June.
You don't need to go through that again.
Yeah, it's a company that I used to work at, and I don't work there anymore. And they've, it's a big deal. It's really a big deal. And oh, by the way, Ray, I'm meeting with Sam. He's coming up from Florida next Thursday.
Just tell him the important part. Just tell him the important part about the old company.
You didn't sabotage it before you left, did you?
Nope, didn't need to.
I was just kidding. I know that's not you.
No, I wouldn't do that. Although I thought, to be honest with you, I thought of it many times, but I thought, you know what, there's no way I'm going to do that, lower myself to do that. So I didn't need to. They sabotaged themselves.
Yeah, well, I had that happen. I had a good friend of mine was working for a company called Reach Plastics, and they made expanded polystyrene stuff. And one of their main guys went to work for their competition, and when he left a lot of booby traps and wrecked some stuff and everything. So my buddy called me in, and I got most of it all squared away.
Well, you can
Randy,
have
I'm sending you a
criminal
video.
charges brought against you for stuff like that.
Hey, Randy,
I think the fact that we got it up and running and straightened out was more of a slap in the face than trying to do something like that.
Go ahead, Bill. What'd you say?
I told Randy I'm sending him a video.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Randy, what kind of block?
It's a concrete block. I run a concrete block company. These guys all know me from a lot of the years I've been in this business, and it's called a serpentine block. It's really a cool looking block. I wish you guys could see it. It's like a wave, and it's what all these architects and engineers are just going crazy over, and we're the only ones that have it. And we've got a group that's it's the United States wide. We've got group of plants in Florida, in California, and everywhere in the Midwest, and all the way here to New York and Massachusetts and stuff like this. And there's 4 groups or 4 molds, 4 different shapes, and there is Midwest Products is making one. A company called Giandris in Mass is making the other. I'm making the serpentine, and there's one other product. I forget who's making the concave, and I forget who's making that. But anyway, it's 4 different products. We're making it for the group. But before we even made any of them, just the foam molds have made people go crazy. So I think it's going to be a pretty good seller, and it's modern looking. It's pretty just cool looking. That's all. It's a veneer block for buildings.
Do you have a plant in South Carolina?
Yeah, Johnson Concrete Products.
Well, good. Then you can get a job at Johnson, and we can all move down there.
Oh, I could go to Johnson any day of the week. I know those guys pretty well.
Well, as soon as you get settled, call me, and I'll throw the house on the market.
Yeah, I'll come down. I can work on your equipment for you.
Boy, oh boy, you guys are nothing but help. Look at that.
Hey, Randy, did you get the video?
I think I did. I don't know. I was in the middle of some stuff. Let me. You texted. Did you email or text it to me?
I sent it via Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
Oh, Messenger. I never looked at. Oh, there it is. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, my speaker is my Bose, and let me tell you, it sounds amazing. That little Bose speaker, it's got the most amazing fidelity.
I gotta listen here for a second.
Hello.
Well, hello there.
Wow. It's amazing how much better I sound than Ray.
Oh, God, that's impossible.
Hey, it's apples and oranges.
That's for sure.
No. Carl, you've got that all wrong. It's apples and kumquats, and he's the kumquat.
Hello.
So,
Hey, by the way, just
Yeah.
for the hell of it, remember you looked up where you can get gasoline that doesn't have alcohol in it, and one of them was 467 Main Street in Wilbraham at Perfect Auto?
yeah.
I stopped in today, and he's an older guy. He's been working there like 15 years now. And I said, is there any truth to the rumor that you guys sell gasoline without alcohol? And he goes, no. He said, in Massachusetts, all gasoline has alcohol in it. So I said, well, according to the Internet, this place has gasoline. Your high test has no alcohol in it. And he says, don't believe everything you read on the Internet.
Well,
do you guys
it
have
was a
Stewart?
bunch of
I know
Phillips
Stewart
66
is,
stations, so
they're ethanol
I'd
free.
still be looking around and checking some of those.
Well, there's 1830 Wilbraham Road. That's not a Phillips. That's a Mobil.
Well, I told you that one that it said there, it didn't have the emblem, the Phillips 66, like all the other ones did. But doesn't the guy know where you can get it, or aren't you allowed to do it in Mass?
Well, he says everything in Mass has got alcohol in it.
Yeah, ethanol.
Gas doesn't.
Yeah, ethanol. That's correct.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. We got some here that I think all their grades are ethanol free, and then all the Stewart shops got an ethanol free high test. I think most of them. WG2E,
KB2ZVP.
And one DVL. Well, I'll look around, see if I can find some Phillips.
No,
Well, I
wait
put some
till
of that
you
nice
you can buy that stuff
ethanol
that's
free
in
high
the
test in
airport.
my lawn tractor today, and threw the battery in there and started right up.
I started our garden John Deere, and I never pulled the battery out of it or anything. Just I would drive it in, and back, the spring, just push the choke, crank the thing over, and voila, she's running like a brand new one.
Yeah, I always take the battery out and wash it up, and then I keep it down in the laundry room.
I don't take the battery out of anything. I just park it in the barn, and if it starts, it starts. If it don't, I jump it.
Evening.
Hello.
November 1 whiskey, Charlie whiskey.
Listen to that guy.
Is it bad?
Oh, you sound like you're $1 million.
Oh, I thought maybe I had problems. You scared me for a minute. Anyways, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Toad Harbians.
Hello, Dennis. Did you hear that, Carl? Did you recognize his voice?
Well, no, he gave his call.
Oh, I thought you were catching on. Okay. Well, anyway, I thought you were catching on. You've been around long enough. But hang on a second. Now, Doc, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Have you even had a conversation yet with Ray?
Somewhat, yep.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's right. You were talking about the microphone with the tube in it.
Yeah, I talked to him the other night, too, for a couple minutes, anyway. He's got that 10 wood.
Isn't that kind of gross?
It is to me, but, you know.
Hey, listen, you can't, whatever, everybody can't be the same.
Well, it sure sounds pretty damn good, regardless what brand it says.
Yeah, don't tell him that. Just tell me it sounds like crap. So Doc's running 100 watts and a double bazooka that Chris and his friends helped build. I didn't know Chris KM2KM was at your place helping you with your antenna, Doc.
Oh, hell yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, you have a much better signal than Chris does.
Well, I didn't build his antenna.
I can tell. But so what do you have there? You have an amp, but you only run it on 80 meters?
Yeah, it's an old GLA 1000.
And that doesn't have 160 on it?
No, it doesn't have 10 either.
Well, 160 is far more important than 10. Do you have 220 in your shack, or no?
Well, I can get it. It's not too far down the hallway.
I see.
Hey, my check didn't clear yet.
Has it been 9 days?
No.
Well, it's 9 days. You can't rush the system, Ray.
I guess you can't. I was going to go out and buy 15 or 20 Kenwood 890s and ship them all around to my friends, but I guess not.
Well, I wasn't going to get one.
No, you already have a good radio.
I was still waiting for my big box to come in.
What's he sending you, Dennis?
TSA 90.
Hey, wait a second. You want a big box? Because I just pumped out my septic system.
How much that cost you?
That's a good friend.
What did that cost you?
$350, and I rebuilt the sidewalk today. I got 2 5-gallon buckets of stone dust, and I did a nice flat rebuild on that, and I started on the other end, and I ran out of stone dust, and I'm going to go get 2 more buckets tomorrow and straighten out the whole sidewalk.
Oh, very good. That $350, that's money well spent.
Yes and no, because when he opened it up, it had this white, it almost looked like styrofoam floating on top. And I asked him, I said, what's that? And he goes, that's the bacteria. He said, that's the bacteria in the tank. So I said, okay. So he punched a few holes in that and started sucking that up. And he went into the water, and the water was just water. There was nothing down there, hardly anything at all. The last time I had that tank pumped, which has got to be 15 years ago at least, was a big ball. I'd say a ball 5 feet in diameter of the toilet paper, and it was a big round ball. It looked like somebody took the cover off a baseball, you know what I mean? And it was the string all wrapped around it, and that was the toilet paper all in one big ball. And I asked the guy, I said, is that like normal like that? And he goes, yeah, that's the way it usually is. But this time there's nothing. It was just water. So all I can think of is because there's only one person in the house, it doesn't, the tank can eat it up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens, is it eats it all up. And the thing is, you don't get dirty. Like, my tanks are always full, but, okay, and it's because when Maureen does laundry, when Maureen does laundry, the dirt from my clothes settles in the tank. But now I don't get that dirty anymore because I'm wearing uniforms all the while. So I'll be interested to see how ours is when we pump it. We haven't pumped it since we've been here, but I've got to call this month. Before the end of the month, I've got to call them and have them come pump the thing.
Yeah, well, I do very, very, very small, I only use the washing machine once every 2 weeks in the summer and probably once every 3 weeks in the wintertime. Yeah, I hardly ever use the washing machine, so there's just not a lot of stuff going down there. So I told the guy, even asked him, I said, well, you wouldn't pump this for at least 5 years, wouldn't he? He goes, no, I wouldn't even think of it. Because I told him it was been more than 10, but it's really been about 15.
Yeah, my guy told me I could go wait 10 or 12 years till the next time.
Yeah, well, so anyway, that's at least I did it, got it done, rebuilt the sidewalk. I got to do a little more sidewalk stuff tomorrow, and then I got to get on the lawn and do a little of this, a little of that.
You're turning into a real handyman, Ray.
Yeah, well, what else do I have to do?
You could always pay somebody to do a job half as good as you do yourself.
Yeah, I got to have my stone wall rebuilt out. That's all caving in. So I talked to the guys where I bought the stone dust, and they have guys that do that, I think. So I got to go down and see. I got to go back and get some more stone dust tomorrow. So I will talk to them about sending a guy up to do the wall.
So who else is in here? We got Doc, and we got Carl, and we got Bill, and is that it for people that have? I have your cell phone number, so I can send you this block. Look, this cool looking block.
Don't forget Dennis.
I got Dennis. I sent it to Dennis.
Oh, I'll have to go up and get my phone so I can check it out. Be right back.
So can you make the blocks all different colors?
Yeah, of course.
Do you add pulverized glass to them?
No.
What exactly does the glass do when you add that?
Well, it depends on how you're. Hang on a second. Okay. So it depends on what you're trying to do with it. If you're using it as an aggregate, or if you're using it as a Portland cement replacement, like I did, you know, or what, you know.
Well, if you're using it, how can you use glass as a Portland cement replacement?
Well, if it's fine enough, grounded into a fine powder, it'll actually add cementitious properties. This text isn't going through, so I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure who's going to get it. I think maybe one of them is bad. But so if you take the glass down to a 4 micron, which is baby powder like substance size, it actually combines with the free lime that's in Portland cement and becomes a new pozzolan. It makes a really super strong pozzolan, and that's what it does. It locks up the free lime, and it actually has a cementitious type property.
What has the higher breaking strength, a block made Portland cement or glass?
Well, okay, so it's a complicated thing. You can't use glass as 100% Portland cement. You can make Portland 100%, right, with no additives, and it's very, very strong. But if you take a block that's designed to be, say, 2,000 psi or 2,100 psi, and you take 30% of the Portland cement out of it, it's going to be quite significantly less strength. Have quite significantly less strength. If you put 30%, the same equal amount of this glass into the block, it'll be the same strength, after 21 days. Now, if you take 10% of the cement out and add 10% of the glass, it's actually stronger with the glass than without the glass. If you take 20% of the cement out and add the glass, it's actually stronger than with the glass or with all Portland cement. But at 30% reduction in Portland and 30% addition of glass, it's the same strength. So actually you can take out 10% of the Portland and add 10% of the glass and have a stronger block, meaning you can cut back on the cement even lower.
What costs the most, the powdered glass or the cement?
Well, the cement does, but the powdered glass benefit is major because it's a recycled product. And the way things are built nowadays with under LEED, they look at how much recycled product or content you have in your products.
Right. Okay.
So Randy, doesn't it create a molecular bond to the cement as which creates a stronger bonding with the cement?
Yeah. Well, what happens is so when you see like old cement, old concrete, old block, and you see that white stuff leaching out, that's called efflorescence. Efflorescence. I don't remember how to spell it, but it's called efflorescence. And that's free lime that's in the cement. A lot of cements have it. Some cements have more than others. So this glass actually bonds with that efflorescence or that free lime and stops efflorescence from happening, for one thing. And when the two of them come together, they become a very strong, like a glue-like substance. And it is at a molecular level. I'm not going to try to say it again. At a molecular level. I'm not sure why I'm having a hard time with that. But anyway, so that's what happens. It does. It becomes like a cement-esque, property. It's called it becomes a pozzolan.
So is that what's happening with my basement walls? I have white stuff leaching out of the cement.
Yeah, so what you have there is hydraulic pressure behind it, and you have water coming through the wall, and that's pulling the free lime that's available in the wall out, and that's what you're seeing.
Is that bad?
No, structurally it's not going to hurt anything, but the fact that you've got water behind the wall, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good.
I get that on my garage floor a little bit. It's just like white dust.
Yeah, that may be efflorescence, or that just may be some powder from the floor. If it was overworked, you could probably wash that floor, clean it really, really, really good, and then put a clear siloxane sealer on it, and you wouldn't have that problem anymore for 5 years.
Yeah, I want to do that, but I got to get... there's a whole there's salt damage, from years of parking in there, and all the little aggregate pieces are out, so it's not even smooth. So I'd like to get it, all smoothed out again, but I'm told you have to pressure wash it first, and then that means I'd have to move like everything out of the garage, so I don't know if I want to do that or not.
Yeah, see, so a lot of that white stuff on the surface of a floor, it's typically from when you've been pulling in a car in the wintertime, and it's salt dripping off the car, and it just piles up on the floor. So I'm not sure if it's efflorescence. I don't know why you'd have water coming up through the floor of your garage. It's probably more of what you're dropping onto the floor.
Yeah, well, that could be it, because I don't really park in there. I keep the truck in there all the time, so I'm not dripping any salt stuff in there anymore, so it doesn't seem to be as bad. But if I wanted to seal that floor and smooth it off, and fill in all the little pits where the little stones and everything were, it has to get really clean first, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I would just, no matter. I would clean it really good and put some sealer on it anyway, and it'll help protect it for the future.
Yeah, well, I'd have it, that I could paint it and have it look nice if at some point if I want to sell the house.
Yeah, put a good sealer on it, and then go get some of that concrete, that really good paint for concrete that has the flakes that you can sprinkle in on it too. That looks good. That's a nice way to protect your floor, but you want to seal that floor up first.
Yeah, my mom had that done at hers. It's like some kind of an epoxy something or other. It looked really nice.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's epoxy resin. Can you add different aggregates to the resin also?
You can. Yep, you can add just different kinds of dust and dust it in, and and it'll help it from being slippery as well.
KC1RS.
Did you hear somebody, Ray?
I thought it was a reflection off of Mars.
Is that the Mars lunar lander?
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Do you have a concrete question tonight, sir?
Yes, I do, and I have a ribald comment.
A what comment?
Let's hear it.
Randy, what's a good way to get that fluorescence off? Can you do that chemically, or do you got to use a pressure cleaner, or what?
Well, yeah, that's a hard thing to do. To be honest with you, getting efflorescence off is hard. It depends if it's primary or secondary efflorescence. Primary you can wash off pretty easily, but if it's secondary efflorescence, it actually becomes bonded to the surface, and you've got to use like a wire brush, or you got to kind of scrub it off. If you pressure wash it, what happens is you wind up blowing into the surface of the block. I assume you're talking about a block, and you can actually bring out more of the free lime, so you're better off trying to scrub it off.
Is there a particular chemical, like a CLR type product, that helps dissolve that?
Oh, I don't know what. You could use a concrete cleaner. What's that stuff that we sell? The not the real rough stuff. We don't want that. Prosoco. Yeah.
What's it called?
Prosoco. Yeah, light duty is the Prosoco light duty concrete cleaner. I would start with that at 50% dilution, and then move to where it's stronger and stronger. Go to 20, 50%, 30%, and then maybe 10%. You might have to try it straight on, but Prosoco, they make a good product. There's a lot of good products out there that you can get. You can go to Home Depot and even buy some of their stuff that they have. It's efflorescence. But that's right. Maureen's right. You gotta start with scrubbing it with a steel bristle brush, and see if that'll take it off. If that takes it off to your satisfaction, you're better off sticking with that. Because when you start throwing acids on, muriatic acids and stuff on that concrete, it opens up the surface for more problems and takes away more of the cement paste that's on it, and it can actually give you more troubles down the road.
Yeah, that's what I figure. I don't really want to pressure clean, and because we got the animals here in the house, I don't want to mess around with too many caustic chemicals. So if it's just a little elbow grease, I'll just do it a little bit at a time until I get it done.
Where is this problem at? In your basement?
Yeah, a couple sections of the basement. Look like the idiot that I bought the house off of. He let the gutters go to hell, and he never worked on drainage on one end of the house, so the water pooled there, and of course it got behind the wall. It got up next to the house. So that was the first thing I did after I bought the place, was get all that squared away. So I just got to get rid of the old, there isn't anything fresh and new. It's all residual old stuff.
Well, then you're really in good shape, because that's the first thing. You're very, very smart. See, Ray, he's a bright man. That's why he's part of the Toad Harbor Network here. But that's the right thing to do, is get rid of all that back behind the wall pressure, hydraulic pressure. And then as it dries up, if you can't brush that off, meaning if it's bonded really, really strong to the concrete, it's as strong as cement paste when that stuff, if it's secondary efflorescence, it'll be as strong as the cement paste to the aggregates there. And you can just paint over that too. You could just take you could take like a clear siloxane sealer and clean it, or seal it, and not worry about it. Or you could put some nice concrete paint over top of it, and you'll never see it again, and you'll freshen up the basement.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to do. I don't have too many places where I got to do that, but where I do see the stuff, I want to get rid of it. So it does. Nobody's looking at it. Nobody's sitting in the basement going, "Whoa!" But I see it when I get down there. So that's kind of my kingdom. Where the goes down there, it's all, there's drywall up, and it's a nice, she has the nice part of the basement. I got the part of the basement where they used to slaughter animals.
Well, that Drylock paint is really good, actually. It looks nice, but any kind of concrete paint, a real good concrete paint, put that on and finish it with a bright white, high sheen paint. would brighten the basement up. It makes it super easy to clean as long as you don't have hydraulic pressure and you don't have any more problems behind that wall, which sounds like you've taken care of. I would just I would base coat, primer, and then put a real good concrete with a high sheen on it. You'll have the best looking basement in Connecticut.
Did you call that sealer siloxane?
I did.
Okay, and I'm wondering where that comes from, because when I was running the generators at the generating plant, burning the landfill gas, we had to periodically take the heads off and scrape off all this white stuff that built up on the valves and on the inside of the heads, and they said that was siloxanes.
Carl, this is the concrete sealing portion of the net.
Well, I know, but I'm just, that word, siloxanes, is something I had to deal with at the generator plant, so I'm just wondering where that comes from.
I don't know. I have no. It's a penetrating sealer, but I'm not sure what's the origin of siloxane. I doubt it's the same. I'm sure it's not the same stuff.
Okay. Well, maybe the Google will know.
Okay, how about this? The guy that wrote that book that you got, Randy, and that's probably the guy that's sending us the letters. Or the guy that's sending us the letters read that book.
This is Colonel Philip Corso's book. I got this one in the mail. I got this one. Oh, wait, there's money in this book. I didn't realize there was money in this book.
Whoa.
Wow. Well, I wonder why Kanan said
that earlier.
Yeah, Kanan, there's a whole bunch of money in this book.
Well, maybe that's where he hid his money.
Should I give it back? It's got to be so far over $900. Should I give it back?
You're kidding. Somebody sent you a book with $900 in it?
Nah, I'm lying. Maureen wants me to keep it going, but I can't lie to you, Ray.
Maureen, you're getting his... Boy, that's awful. It finally rubbed off on her.
He's been feeding me drinks all night, Ray. I can't help myself.
Watch out. Lock yourself in the bedroom.
I knew he was fooling.
Exactly where she should be locked into. That's right. Hello, Bruce.
Good evening, Katie One Mountain Whiskey.
What's there in the kitchen?
So let's go ahead. Change the subject. It's been so boring here tonight, Bruce. Please, tell us something fun.
Yeah, Randy's going on and on about the Sarbanes-Oxley Act and stuff. Financial accounting just makes me want to kill myself.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't pull a new subject out of the hat right now. I'm sort of drawing a block.
I got to tell you, I think I like Bruce the best.
Yeah, Bruce is smart. He's a real smart guy.
Look, I'm no smarter than the rest of you guys. You guys are all brilliant in your own way, and that's what makes this group pretty good.
Well, let's put it this way, Bruce. There's one thing I know you're not smart. You're growing plants, but you're growing the wrong plants.
No, Ray, I have considered what you're referring to fairly seriously. But if you understand the state of Rhode Island, you wouldn't do it either. I would have to bow down, kiss the ring to some very unsavory people.
Just think an acre of that growing out there, would that be worth? That'd be worth $50,000 an acre, I think my friend told me.
Yeah, but what do you got to do? You got to put a fence around it. You got to have an armed guard. Your life is over.
Hell, nobody'd even know. They wouldn't even know you were growing that.
Oh, yeah, they would. You got to get permits and licenses and all that stuff, and, all that's public information. You can't hide that.
Hey, Randy, I got the answer.
Go ahead, Carl.
Siloxanes are used in cosmetics and a whole bunch of different things, and they end up in the landfill. And when they're burnt in combustion, they create silica, that's the deposit. And if it gets bad enough, it can be abrasive. That's why we had to take it off.
Oh, you got to watch silica because that's very, very bad for your lungs. Silicosis is wicked bad, and that's what we deal with all the time with OSHA.
Well, yeah, they had us wearing respirators when we were doing that head cleaning.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a text message from Tootie. Tootie sent me a text message.
Where's he in Alabama or something, right?
Let's see. He sent me one. Hey, thanks for checking. Yeah, he's in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. So then a couple of days later we talked. Hey, okay, here. Hey, Randy, thanks for the text. Things are going pretty good here. It's 70 to 80 degrees, so I'm fine with that. I am glad. Let's see. I am glad I told him that we're missing him on the net. You know, he fit in so well. And he said, I'm glad I'm fitting in with the gang. I tell you, I wish I found you guys a long time ago. Moral and state of mind have improved greatly since I've been coming on the net. I'm actually staying up past 9 p.m. You have a real good chemistry there, and you keep things in check as a voice of reason. Ray, I am the voice of reason. Okay, it is neat to see the synergy of all the guys and how they all mesh together. I can cover about every subject. Truly unique. Give my best to all the guys, especially Ray. I am energized to get my 3/8 wave vertical up and checked out. Dues are in the mail along with the initiation fees. 73 2D.
Is he? Have him tell him. Well, if he's listening, if you're listening, Bob, email Randy to let us know you're listening.
Ray, I doubled with you. What's that?
I said, if he's listening, have him email you to tell us that he is listening.
Oh, I don't think he's listening. He was sending text messages. Him and I were going back and forth.
Well, a lot of these guys that go all over. I mean, even what's his name? Bad Mike was listening to us over in Israel.
Yeah, I listened to you guys when I was on vacation on SDRs.
Mike was listening to me direct, though, Ray.
Yeah, right. It could have been. Yeah, you never know.
I'm actually really psyched now. I can get into my radio anywhere.
You know, that's a great radio. You know, we've talked down the Flex radios a little bit here. I don't think we should have. Look how good Bill sounds, and look how easy it was for him to set it up.
There's only one thing I want to know. Does it say Manolo on the box?
It says N1NPQ on the box.
You know what Manolo is?
I don't.
Nope.
They're fancy women's shoes.
It's about the size of that, though. I was impressed with how small it is, and it doesn't weigh very much either. Pretty impressive. The only complaint I have is the transmit relay is a little noisy.
Well, hey, listen, you can't have everything, you know?
Seriously, you're going to complain about a click?
Hey, I'm OCD. What can I say? I've already. I'm going to get some of this. My friend has a car audio place, and he's got this sound dampening material. I think I'm going to try to put a little of that around the relay.
I would not do that. It might keep the heat in.
Hey, he ought to hear my old Dentron clank when it keys up.
Right. You should have heard my relay that I had set up when I was working AM 6 meters back in the day, with a Bakelite board and the motor starter and the dryer springs bolted to the back of the board, and so they would touch each other and ting. So I would, these guys were all running old Cleggs and old radios like this that didn't have, they had 10 watts or 20 watts or whatever, and here I am running 300 watts of carrier, or 250 watts of carrier with stacked beam antennas, and they're running loop antennas or something, some homemade dipole, right? So I come in there and I key that thing up, and it would key up, and then that relay keyed the radio, so that thing was into full boogie, banging and humming and on and vibrating when I keyed up, boing, and I'd be 20, 30 over to these guys, and they're all like hearing each other at 9, so that was a lot of fun, but it's back in the old days.
I love 6 meters.
So Ray, did you know Doc was a racer?
No, I did not. Did Doc go to Lebanon Valley?
No, I don't know. Don't think I've ever been to Lebanon. I've been on the Magic Mile in Syracuse and Weedsport and Rolling Wheels and Dundee and Williams Grove down PA.
Have you been to Fonda?
I missed that. A damn 2-meter radio went off.
Yeah, I said, did you ever go to Fonda Speedway in Fonda?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, I've been to all those places you were talking about, but I'm surprised you haven't been to Fonda. That's a big deal, racetrack.
Oh, I don't even think I ever heard of it.
Yeah, that's Shirley Modani. They used to have a drag strip in the center of it, and Shirley Modani was there. Richard Petty won a bunch of Richard Petty's 200 wins came from dirt tracks, and Fonda was one of the dirt tracks that he raced on.
Oh, way cool. What is it, a half mile?
Yeah, it's a half mile. Yeah, Pete Corey was real good there. Jack Johnson burned up the half mile there.
Well, those are names I recognize.
The last motor I did for a circle track car was Jack Johnson's Friday night car at Malta.
I don't know how the hell we never met before. That don't make sense.
I don't know, but yeah, that's Jumpin' Jack. That's the last engine I did for a circle track car. Well, I didn't do the engine. I did the heads. I did the heads at down in Fultonville Machine at the machine shop down there. Set up his heads, and he won that night. So I went out in a victory.
Way cool.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, any of you guys into ATVs? I'm sorry, whoever said, hey, Randy, I'll shut up.
I love ATVs. Me and my kids were big into ATVs. Yes, Russ.
Yeah, I used to recurve distributors and work on the carburetors for an outfit called Oak Hills Automotive. I don't think they raced over by you guys, but they were pretty hardcore there in western PA and eastern Ohio.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of that, changing the weights in the springs like that in the distributor, and I've done a lot with carburetors, with changing the squirters and the cams and porting and polishing and flow testing and all that stuff. We used to get a 500 CFM Holley tube barrel to flow about 720 CFM.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm working on the double pumpers and changing out valve bodies and stuff like that. Man, I tell you, that's all a lost art now. I think I don't know if everybody's using fuel injection now or not, but and they're all using like electronic ignition. But boy, back in the day, it was working on distributors and carburetors and stuff. It was like money in the bank.
Yeah. Well, carburetors where it was at, right? That was total fuel management. But nowadays, it's nobody uses carburetor. Even NASCAR, they're all off of carburetors. They're all using fuel injection and all that. Harley Davidson motorcycles are all using fuel injection. Nobody runs carburetors nowadays.
You're gonna make me cry.
No kidding. I love carbureted cars. I used to love, working on these things and dialing them in and getting them just right, And I'll tell you, if you were good, you could do a good job. I remember Roger Savoy, this guy was a big tuner, and he had Mark Baker's Ford. This kid, Mark Baker, had this Ford Mustang all built up, and he couldn't get that thing it would rev up, but it would stay up. It would come down real slow. And he couldn't figure that out. And he was drilling the back plates of his carburetor and all that stuff. And what it was is his weights were swinging out, and they weren't coming back. And the distributor still was advancing and was staying up there. So I had to go down and figure that out for him. And stuff like that I'll never forget doing that job. I love doing that job, doing that stuff. But nobody does that stuff nowadays. They just hook up a laptop and they read some data and figure out what the hell's going on. But I guess that's technology, and things have moved on beyond us old dinosaurs. But I still like doing that old stuff. I miss that.
How long has it been since you used a dwell meter?
Because I was talking about some girl in my sleep. Her name was Holly.
Very good, Doc.
It's a fact, man, honest.
Hey, Carl.
1974.
Go ahead.
Carl.
One of my friends from us guys, he gets a call from one of the really high-tech places in town that does all these fuel injection things, and they have the fancy stuff when nobody can figure them out. And he gets my buddy call on the phone, goes, got a car here set a point, and nobody knows how do you set points.
Oh, geez. I could do that with my eyes closed. I could do it with a screwdriver and a business card.
I use them.
Matches you.
I was going to say you got to carry
box. I bet you I probably. Boxes out in my shed.
30,000 cubic inch toolbox sitting down in my garage, full of all kinds of arcane stuff that I never touch anymore.
One of these days, when somebody coming by here and they break down out front and their points are froze together in a 1940 something or other, I'm going to save the day.
Anyway, I built a Frankenwheeler there, Randy. I picked up a Honda, four-wheeler. It was a mess. There's no plastic. The head was off. Anyway, I cut that all apart and I put it on a go-kart chassis, and you sit down in it and strap in. I got a big bore kit in it. And it's a riot.
What's your wife think about that?
Well, she won't go near that thing.
What's she think about you racing it around?
She doesn't look. But she can hear it, man. It's loud. I got a stinger on there you wouldn't believe.
Hey, Randy, I think Doc should get bonus points because of the peepers in the background there when he's talking.
I got to tell you, man, Doc is my favorite guy. He's cool. I love. See, we live out here in Pieper.
He's sitting in the pond.
Yeah, Maureen says it sounds like it's a recording. Are you sure they're real peepers? We live in peeper territory. We got water all around us, and we have peepers, like major peepers.
And pretty soon we'll have the tree frog thing.
Yeah, but we got nothing for Doc. We can't cover that up.
Well, I got, an acre pond right out, less than 25 feet from the house, and as long as the window's open, man, them babies sing me to sleep.
Just key your mic for 10 seconds. I love it. Have you ever just yelled out, "Hey," like that out the window, and they'll quiet down real quick, and then they'll start right back up?
Oh, yeah. I just walk out on the back porch and bang the wall or something.
Do it. You gotta key the Maureen's there. Do it. Key the mic and yell out or do something.
Okay, hang on. I gotta go to the window. I'll lock the mic down here.
Hey! Go!
Well, they didn't shut up very good.
Well, they were 25 over S9, and they went down to S9. So you managed to get half of them quieted down.
I don't want to quiet them down, actually, but I love them. Yep, I sure do.
I do, too. I love that. That's awesome. See what you're missing, Ray?
Yeah, wait till later on in the summer, and then big old bullfrogs start croaking out there, man.
Oh, they should be on your dinner plate.
We get
Joanne,
tree frogs, and when the tree frogs get going, holy heck, do they get loud?
Yeah, they sure do. We got some pretty good sized ones, too. Of course, there's a bunch of little ones. The little ones say too deep, and then the big old bullfrogs say knee deep.
So you guys know about my friend, the engineer, what do we call him? He is a structural engineer, the guy that worked on the World Trade Center, the collapse of the World Trade Center, right?
Is that the NASA guy?
No, that's not the NASA guy. This is the guy, what's his name? Hang on one second.
I got a big old 102-pound dog here bothering me to take him out, so I will be back in a few. KC1RF.
Okay, very good. The guy, Ray, I told you was going to investigate that walking bridge that collapsed, David Biggs.
Oh, yeah. So whatever happened with that?
Well, I'm not sure. He's not investigating that right now. You know where he is now?
No.
He's investigating the what burnt down? The Notre Dame. He was interviewed on French TV, and he's over there and working with that crew.
How the hell can he go from a bridge falling down to a fire?
He's a structural engineer. He was in Egypt working on the pyramids. Yeah. No, that's what he's doing. He was over there working on he does restoration on things, and restoration for fires and restoration for stone work, and they have a lot of restoration on for Notre Dame, and he is the world's #1 restoration guy for Mr. Biggs. Yeah, so he's over there now working with those guys.
Well, he should know that global warming caused that fire.
You're right. He does know that about global warming, and it had nothing to do with that fire.
Yeah, well, and that's not what that gal said. AOC.
She is such a dip. I can't even believe that anybody anywhere listens to her.
What was that from? Maureen's asking. You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. What was that from?
Wasn't it a comic or something?
Yeah, but you doesn't have to call me Johnson.
Yeah, what was it from though? Because
That's what Ron said.
Yeah. So she's talking about. Yeah, you guys don't know, but I have a new title. It was bestowed on me. I'm vice president now, and they said to the people who were coming in talking to Maureen, they like her way better than they like me, of course. And they said, well, what do we call the wife of the vice president? Do we have, And then Maureen says, well, you can call me Ray, you can call me Jay, and then Ron says to her, well, just don't call me Johnson. So we don't know what it's from. Come on, you guys can't be stumped. This is the world-famous Toad Harbor Net, is it not? We need Bruce.
What do you need me for?
What's the answer to that riddle?
It's a light beer commercial.
Okay, natural light beer commercial. Okay. Oh, I remember that. That was so funny.
You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, or you can call me tasting light beer, just say natural. But you doesn't have to call me Johnson. Two natural flavors.
That's it. The good old Googler. I can't believe, Ray, that Kanan is all about UFOs, being that he's a real live scientist. Usually those guys have got to see this thing, taste this thing, smell this thing, and pet this thing before they believe in this thing. And I'm really shocked that he's all about the UFOs.
Well, I think it's. What I really think it is a person who is smart. You have to be very smart. You have to have very good common sense. That's the biggest thing. There aren't a lot of people in this world that have really, really very, very good common sense. And common sense dictates that. You could you could find 3,000 or 4,000 of the finest minds in the world that have either, seen it, fought with it, chased it, watched it land, watched it do its antics up in the air. We're talking 3,000 or 4,000 of the best people on the planet. Now, a lot of people can't believe. Say a guy like Ed Irwin. He's one of the big astronauts that pushed this, Irwin, or the guys that landed on the moon and stuff like that. For some reason they think they're smarter and better and they're wiser than those guys. And I'm smart enough to know that the guys that went to the moon, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, were probably a very small group of maybe 100 people on the entire Earth that could have brought that to bear. And if they say they saw something, they saw something.
Okie dokie.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That thing is a riot. The only trouble is it steers real hard.
Where did you get the go-kart from?
That's one of my old racers.
I've only got one picture. I got a thing that says engine, but there's no picture of the engine.
Oh, I'll have to send that again.
So Ray, why weren't you on here last night? I guess he's not on here now. Dennis, are you still here? Oh, you put him to sleep.
Looking for me?
Yeah, where'd you go?
Went to WWV.
WWV, okay, for what?
To check how far my clock is off. It's off like 13 seconds in probably 4 or 5, well, maybe a week. 5, 6 days, it's off like 13 seconds. How can they build such a beautiful radio like this and not have some goddamn adjustment on the damn clock?
That's unacceptable.
I would sell that pig immediately.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's just utterly ridiculous that the clock's off that far in that short a period of time. And then, what's his name up? Jeff tells me there's no adjustment. There's got to be an adjustment. I could buy a goddamn Timex and wire it in there and do better than that.
Yeah, what's with all the swearing, Ray?
I mean tonight.
Where were you last night? How come you didn't get on last night?
I tell you, I was laying in bed and I was nice and comfy and warm and watching something on TV, and, you know, I just didn't feel like getting up.
What were you watching on TV, Maureen wants to know?
I don't even remember.
Sure you don't.
Yo, the Blacklist is on tonight. I got to, geez, I'll just have time to run down. What time's the Blacklist on, 9 or 10? Because I got to watch the old one, and then I got to watch the new one. I got one more Blacklist to watch.
I think not till 10.
Well, then I can run down there by 9 and watch the first one, and then watch the current one. I think it's on at 9 now.
What channel's on?
Oh, God, NBC. I'll tell you one thing, that Carl's good for one thing.
Only one thing?
November 1, Sierra Alpha Golf.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Dave, Connecticut is always in the news with a strange thing. I heard that a golfer in some town, and again, I apologize, I don't know the town, but on the golf course, some guy in his 60s was attacked by a bobcat today, and it tried to kill him. And they shot it, and they figured out it had rabies. Did you hear that?
Roger, yeah, I think it was yesterday on last night's news. At first it got a horse, and then it went to the golf course and got a golfer. I think it jumped on his back while he was riding around in his golf cart.
Yeah, I guess that some of his fellow the people on the golf course came running over and started clubbing the thing.
Yeah, well, I had a rabid fox once in the garage, and I got a shot off at it, but I missed it because the DOT guy said that, oh, you can shoot it, but we want the skull, but don't do a headshot. Well, I had a shotgun, so I'm trying to just get him in the tail. I figured, at that point, what I mean, we can somehow stop his heart, but I missed anyway, so the little bugger got away. But yeah, that's too bad, Yeah, there's a lot
9
of
o'clock, Ray.
That, rabies, I don't know how they get it, but it goes around.
Yeah, I guess the only way they can tell if it has rabies, they have to dissect the brain.
Yeah, he said that we want the brain. Yeah, they got to, I don't know what they find in there, but maybe a few loose screws, I don't know.
They find rabies.
Getting pretty noisy now. WG2E.
So what time's the blacklist on?
9 o'clock.
Oh, bummer. Well, maybe I'll just for now watch it and watch the other one tonight, and then tomorrow that'll be ready to go.
Yeah, it's right after Blind Spot.
You should read that book, Star Trek Memories by William Shatner. I'm reading that. That's a really well-written book. What a difference between the way that book is written and the other lousy books. But it's really well-written, and it's extremely interesting. And it explains how all the work involved in bringing a TV, a show to TV. First, somebody has to write it, and then they have to fine-tune it, and then they have to make all the sets for it. I'm telling you, that's amazing they can do that.
Yeah, I've read some of his stuff. He's actually written some science fiction books, and I think he's got a good editor and good help.
Well, I read those two books by Hynek, and I'm reading I've read the one by Philip Corso, and I'm reading the one by that sergeant there, the newer one. And they're all so poorly written, it's just amazing. And I don't consider myself a literary genius, but they're just really poorly written. In that book, as soon as I started reading that Star Trek book, I said, wow, what a difference the writer makes. The writer is just really great in that. It's not him. Shatner's not the writer. He's the guy that gives the ideas, and then he has a writer writing it for him. But what a difference.
Star Trek Memories, is that the title?
Yep, Star Trek Memories. Very interesting, especially if you were a big Star Trek fan, because, everything you read in the book you know all about anyways, but they tell you how they do it, and it is a great one. Did you used to watch the old Star Trek?
Oh, yeah, I watch most of them.
Remember the one where I don't know, Kirk somewhere, and he has that girl doing the hoochie coochie dance, and she's green.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what episode that was, but yeah, I know the one you mean.
Well, it said they were they just didn't know how they could make somebody come out green, and they had to be very careful, because back then a lot of people still had black and white televisions. So if you use the wrong shade, then the person on on a black and white TV, they would look black instead of a lighter color. So he gets his makeup crew, and they paint her up green, and they do a shoot, a test shoot, and the film comes back, and she's regular color. And they can't figure it out, so they mix up a whole new batch, and they do it again, and sure enough, the tape comes back, and she's normal color again. So they went crazy. So they hired a professional studio that is they were just using ham and eggers there at Desilu. So they hired a professional studio and told them what the problem was, and they came up with this green stuff, and they said not only was it green, it smelled awful. Well, anyway, they painted her up, and they kept on doing it with Mariel, what's her name, Mariel Barrett there, the girl that played the McCoy's nurse and later on played on the other Star Trek, which was Gene Roddenberry's wife, Mariel Barrett. That was their name, I believe, or her professional name. And they kept on painting her up. So finally, they get on the phone and they call the lab, and they're talking to the guy at the lab, and they're saying, look, we're just totally stumped here. We've done 3 different greens, and the person keeps on coming back, normal. And the guy says, you got to be kidding me. He goes, you can't believe the amount of time I put in. He says, every time I was getting those things from you and the person was green, I had to put all these filters and do all kinds of stuff to get her back to the right color.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine that? It said it cost them $17,000 for that mistake.
Majel Barrett.
Yeah, she was great. She was great later on in the other, the new Star Trek playing mother.
Yeah, this book, it's William Shatner and Chris Kresge is the other author.
Right. Well, all I can tell you is it's really well written, and it's amazing. They tell about how they made the sets and this, that, and the other, and who they were going to use, and they were instead of using Jim Kirk, whatever his real name is, instead of using Jim Kirk, they had picked another guy to use, and he wouldn't do it. Oh, they were going to use. Remember Mike, the guy from Sea Hunt? Well, his sons are real great actors now. What was his last name?
Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, Mike Bridges. Lloyd Bridges. They offered the thing to Lloyd Bridges, and he said, "You're crazy." He goes, "No, I would never do that." He says, I'll be typecast as a spaceman for the rest of my life. No, I won't do it.
Are we talking Star Trek?
Yeah, they offered Lloyd Bridges William Shatner's role in Star Trek before they went with Shatner.
Hey, do you know about the starship that's over in Ticonderoga? It's like maybe about 15 miles from where I live. They have a replica, I guess the same as what they used in the studio to shoot all the Enterprise on the ship scenes.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I know I think they said the original one they built, the one they finally built, was about 15 feet long.
Yeah, actually, Shatner was here back in the fall, and then he came back during the winter again because he loved it so much, and he said, "Wow," he goes, "this is like to the T," he said. And all the same things that broke on the original set, he said, were broken on this too. He goes, I had a friend that went over and got an autograph and stuff when he was there.
Yeah, he was he was absolutely great in that part. He was just really good. And Spock, it turns out, and of course this is from reading the book, but Spock was the big high roller. He was not just Spock. I mean, in Hollywood, he was a force to be reckoned with, they said. He was a producer, a writer, and what do you call it? Producer, writer, and what do they call the guy who does the cameraman stuff?
Director?
Yeah, director, producer, writer, and director. He owned a whole bunch of buildings in Hollywood, and he was just, I guess, he was like the main man out there. And here's the other thing you don't know. Yeah, that's funny because Joan knew this, and I never knew or heard how he died. Spock died from COPD. He was a heavy smoker, and that's what he died from.
Right. Did you ever see Boston Legal, Ray?
It was, either lung cancer or something. I knew he was a real heavy smoker. I used to love In Search Of. I'm sure you watched that.
No, I never watched it.
Did you watch Boston Legal?
He did like In Search of the Loch Ness Monster, all sorts of things. I think they did one on Sasquatch.
Oh no, I did. You're right. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I did watch In Search Of. Yeah, he was. I liked when he does that kind of stuff. What was the other question? Boston Legal. Yeah, that's with William Shatner though.
Yeah, but he's talking about Spock now. Leonard Nimoy.
Oh. In Search Of?
No, Leonard Nimoy did Spock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about William Shatner.
No, you missed it. She missed it, Ray. WG2E, near the bottom. Kilowatt Bravo 2, Zulu, Victoria, Papa.
WA3F.
November 1, November Papa, Quebec.
81 Mountain Whiskey.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, Randy.
Hey, good Mike's in there.
Howdy, everybody.
Hey, good Mike. You know that thing you told me about on the engine?
Yes.
Well, there's a plate. There's a plate on the engine block. There's a plate on under the hood of the car, and it's the same number. That's the serial number under the window. So is that the one you were talking about?
The one on the side of the block.
Yeah, the one on the side of the block. But what it is, it's an aluminum plate. Just like first of all, the serial number under the window is that same number. The aluminum plate that's on the block is the same number as the serial number of the car, and then there's one of those that when you open the hood, it's right on the fender, on the inside of the fender well, and it's the same aluminum plate with the exact same number on it. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yes. Let me look at my papers here once.
Yeah, because I thought you were talking about a casting number. And this isn't cast into the block. This is an aluminum plate, and it's always the same number, which designates the engine's a number 4, which is the smaller engine, 2.5 liter.
Hey, Ray, what was the show where he was a cop? TJ something, wasn't it?
Yeah, TJ Hooker.
Okay, yeah. I didn't really care much for that show.
No, because after you saw him in Star Trek, that was kind of a letdown. He was really good in he was good on the on that legal thing there, Boston Legal. He was good on that.
Yeah, he's over here at Saratoga a lot also. He's a big he's got some big racehorses. He's a big racehorse guy.
Well, those guys he works a lot, so I'm sure he can afford it.
Hey, Randy?
Sir, yes, sir.
Neighbor and I went to DX Engineering again, and I got a real close look at your 7851. Holy mackerel, what a beautiful rig.
Ain't she a sexy thing?
Oh, man.
Did you get it hooked up yet?
And, Ray, I looked at your Kenwood. That is a good-looking rig also. Boy, you guys got some fine equipment. And that 7610, that is a fine-looking radio.
Yeah, they're all nice. The only trouble is the 7610 doesn't work.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, my new radio's ugly.
Display. And I'll tell you that I'm really impressed with that 7300. There's a lot of beautiful rigs out there.
Yeah, well,
mine were kinda
7,300
ugly,
is the
though.
best bang for your buck. I mean, for $1,000, where are you going to get a radio like that?
Plus the
I
power
think it's
supply.
down to 9 now.
Yeah, since Carl said plus the power supply. So, yeah, how can you beat it?
Yeah, you can't beat it. With the equipment that's out there today, wow. They never had anything like that when they come out, the original 751s and the 735s.
No, they were just archaic. These new radios are just incredible. Like I always say to people, like on this Kenwood, it's the most boring radio I have ever owned. It just does everything perfect.
Yeah, my new radio doesn't have any knobs, or it's just a little black box.
I told you, they hang outside the shoe factory, and when they throw the bad boxes out, they grab them and they paint them and they put their guts in them.
You know what I'm waiting for? Someone to come out with a device that you can mount in your car and have a direct link back to your Flex radio. That would be really cool with the microphone and everything. So you wouldn't even need a portable HF rig anymore.
No, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do that when they come out with that 5G system. You'll be able to just about do exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, yes, Tom, go ahead. Hello, Tom. Did you say something?
Tom, go back to talking about how great the 7851 is.
Yeah, at DX they said that's a $13,000 radio. Beautiful.
Tell Ray how much nicer it is, how much sexy. I mean, listen, and I understand it's a lot more money, but just tell Ray how just god-awful sexy it is.
It is, and I'll tell you, I don't recall seeing a matching speaker to it. Did they make one?
They do have a big speaker for it, yes.
My desk isn't big enough for something like that.
It's a big radio. You know what? I was turning it on today, and I reached over, and I hooked the coaxes back up, and I turned on the big alpha amplifier, and I reached behind this because of the switch on the back to shut the power supply. I should turn this on, and it's like a procedure to turn this stuff all on, and I like it. Yeah, that's right. I like it a lot.
Hey, by the way, my radio's at the top of the list for receiver test data on the Sherwood.
Beautiful rigs.
Yeah, thank you very much. I like it a lot.
Ray.
Yeah, I heard what you said, but unfortunately, he puts those radios in order with their 2 kilohertz, ability to hear somebody 2 kilohertz away, and that's ridiculous. I have no idea why he did it. I always question that, because if the radio's overloaded from something 100 kilohertz away, you're not going to hear anything. So it's the 100 kilohertz one that makes all the difference, and the number one radio there is the Kenwood.
Ray, can you hear me?
I hear you.
I've addressed you like 5 times now. It's about an hour labor on the fuel filter.
An hour? Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, they wanted $60 to do it, so that's cheap then.
Yeah, it's about right.
Wow, you're right, Ray. Wow, that's pretty impressive. It's 151, greater than 151, it says.
Right. Well, that's the one that's important, because if you don't have that, you don't even have a radio, and that's what's wrong with the 7610. That is only 119 and 122, and the radio just gets whacked.
So how did the Flex make it to the top?
Because listen careful now. Come on, you got to learn this stuff. According to Sherwood, he puts radios in order from best to worst at their 2 kilohertz spacing. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, how can the radio pick up a signal 2 kilohertz away from another strong signal? You follow what I'm saying?
Right. I do see the sensitivity is way above everyone else, though.
Well, hang on. Let me get my sheet out. Now, again, that's the most ridiculous parameter that he uses. I don't understand what his thinking is, because if the radio's overloaded from something out of band, like an AM broadcast station, or in my case, this VHS stuff out here, you're not going to hear anything at 2 kilohertz, or 5, or 10, or 50, or 100. The radio's just whacked. So it should be the dynamic range at 100 kilohertz that's important. Now,
so my understanding is the 65 and the 6700 are both the same receiving system in them, so I'm assuming that mine's right up there also.
Which model do you have?
I have the 6500. Receiver, I believe, is the same. The only thing difference is it's got the other one's with I think it's a GPS locked controller, what's it called? Oscillator.
Okay, I'm still looking for yours. It's a 65, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's listed because it's the same as the 67.
No, I think it was. I see the 67. I thought there was a 65 listed in here somewhere. Maybe not.
I looked. I asked someone on the radio the other day, and they said that it's basically the same radio, except for it's got more pan adapters and an additional receiver. So you can do, with the 2 receivers, you can have diversity on the antennas, I guess. So it really makes a big difference on the antenna. I guess it's called diversity.
Well, okay, according to what mine says, it says its 100 kilohertz blocking dynamic range is 130 dB. That sucks. That just sucks. The radio will get whacked by anything close. And on this one, it says at 2 and 20, it's 99 dB. I don't know why it says that, but 99 dB at 2 and 20, which is, okay, and 96 at 2 and 20. I don't know what that means, but, it's okay, but it's not like the big ones. Again, if you go to the first one, okay, I see what you're saying. The Flex 67, okay, now it says Flex Radio System 6700 is the number 1. That one says hardware updated. Do you know what that means?
I'm imagining that it's probably got something to do with the GPS oscillator, and probably maybe they were using diversity on the antennas. Maybe, I don't know what else could you upgrade in it?
Well, I don't know, but the 2 kilohertz spacing's 108 dB, which is way better than the other one. The other one's like 96, and this is 108. But then it's 20. It doesn't even make sense. It says 2 and 20, 99. Then it says 2 and 20, 108. That doesn't make any sense. But the thing that scares me is that 130 dB at 100 kilohertz. So it's going to be overloaded by anything close.
Yeah, okay, I see the second one now. It says second sample 10 meters.
Anyway, I don't even, the 2 and 20, I mean, the 20 and 2 kilohertz thing are important. I mean, they are important, but the problem is if the radio's overloaded from something out of band, then the radio's just simply not going to work at all. So the 100 kilohertz spacing is basically third order intercept point of a normal receiver. They used to give it in third order intercept, and now they give it in this blocking dynamic range. So third order intercept is not going to be good on any of the SDR radios. Now, I don't know if you know who Rode is, but Rode has been writing receiver articles for 30 plus years, and he's probably the design engineer on the ICOM 7851 and a lot of these newer radios. I mean, he's just been writing. He's just a brilliant guy, and I know that recently, and Randy can verify this for me, about a year year ago, I think a year or a year and a half ago, whatever, he bought a 7300 ICOM. He used it for a very short period of time, like one day, and he sent it right back. He said they don't work very good at all. So I don't know if he tests them on a signal generator or what he does, but that was his idea of a 7300. And of course, 7300 and 7610 are exactly the same. There's no difference. The 7610 has that pre-selector that can help you if the interfering signal's really far away. You know, if it's like on the AM broadcast band or something, that pre-selector is going to give you another 20 dB. Now the crazy thing is when they tested the radio at the 100 kilohertz level, the 7610, which makes no sense at all. Again, I scratch my head the way Sherwood does this stuff. He makes no mention at all on that 7610. It's 100 kilohertz blocking is 122 and 119, which really sucks. Now, I certainly hope that's not with the pre-selector on, because if it's with the pre-selector on, then the radio will be lit.
Yeah, the other thing, too, it says preamp off. I wonder why that's mentioned in there. Does it go down the hill when you turn the preamp on?
Yeah, with third-order interceptor, 100 kilohertz dynamic range. Any gain the preamp has is going to be immediately taken completely off the other number. So that radio, as you can see, it's about 100, let's say at its best, it's 122 dB. With preamp 1 on, it's only going to be 112 dB. With preamp 2 on, it's only going to be down to like 108 dB, which literally puts it in the league of the old Yaesu 101. Which those radios are pathetic beyond belief. And unfortunately, the 7610 with preamp 2 on is pathetic beyond belief, because when I put preamp 2 on here, the red light's just on constantly, all full red all the time, and the receiver just shuts right off. And that's exactly what an old 101 would do. I mean, really, I hate to keep on saying this because I know it makes people mad, but they're a terrible radio. And ICOM had incredibly big balls to build that radio the way they did it.
Aesthetically, it sure looks nice, though.
Well, it may look nice, but it's pretty pathetic when your radio that you got sitting in front of you is probably 30 dB better on 100 kilohertz dynamic range, and it's 10 years older and 30 dB better. So, you know, that's what's pathetic.
What's it better than?
His 7600 is probably about 30 dB better than it's at least 20 dB better than the 7610.
Oh, at 100?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I walked out for a second, so I wanted to get caught up. Okay, very good. KB2ZVP.
Well, wait, let me just say one last thing. Here's the thing that unless you're really experienced, really experienced with these receivers like this, that stuff that Sherwood does really doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, because the 7610 is 122 dB. The 7600 tests at 126 dB. So essentially it's only 4 dB better than the 7610. But if you put the preamp on in the 10, it just wipes the radio completely out. I can put preamp 2 on, which is a real 20 dB gain on the 7600, and it still does not overload the receiver. So according to Sherwood, it's only 4 dB better, but I'm saying it's 20 to 30 dB better. In reality, in the real world, see, the difference is in the real world, where you really have to be out here with a receiver getting hit by multiple signals coming in from all over the place. The 7600 is a minimum of 20, if not even 30 dB better. And this Kenwood is even better than that. The Kenwood's probably 40 to 50 dB better, but there's no way to test it because it does, you can't get it to overload.
Wow, holy smokes, the the ICOM 7600 is way down on the list now. Actually, I was surprised. It doesn't look like the new Flex radios didn't do quite too good either.
Any SDR, any radio that's an SDR is going to be very, very questionable because they just don't have a lot of dynamic range. That's why that's why I tell everybody there's only 2 radios to buy. I mean, if you're going to go buy a brand new radio, you buy the 7300 for $1,000 because it's a bargain, or you buy the Kenwood because it's still affordable and it has more dynamic range than any other radio. I would never own a Flex, no way.
I still don't understand why it's number 1 on the list, though.
Well, again, it's number 1 because he doesn't test them probably the way they should be tested. You know, that's the only thing I can tell you. I mean, it tests there at 100 because everything the reason those radios are in the way they are is they look at the radio's ability to knock down a signal 2 kilohertz away. That's the only thing he looks at, and that's where that Flex, that 6700 Flex Tour one, probably a better oscillator, probably has a better filter. It probably, it's got, it's a different radio. The one you have and the one that tests real good is a different radio. But if you notice, the important thing is they're both still only 130 dB at 100 kilohertz.
You're an asshole.
Yeah, I know. I'm an asshole. So I'll tell you what. Why don't you come in and teach this class? Go ahead. We're going to stand by for you. Well, I'm waiting. If you want to make a statement like that, you explain where I'm wrong.
Don't acknowledge him, Ray. Just leave him alone. The guy's a freaking moron.
Well, I know he's a moron, but now he realizes just how stupid he is. Okay, so anyway, back to net.
And Randy, very good debate, very eloquent yesterday. I see I'm going to shake your hand.
Oh, with Chris about the Democrats versus... Chris is a very, very bright man. He's a dear friend of mine, and he's a Democrat, and he loves Bernie Sanders. And I just, I don't like to talk about politics with Chris because I'm really dedicated in my beliefs, and I don't cover those up. And Chris obviously is very... Chris has been around the world. He's met with kings and princesses and world leaders. For all over the world. He's way smarter than me, and he's got a way more informed background than I have. But I'm not gonna back down with against my beliefs. I can tell you that.
I hope he doesn't make a lot of money, because if Bernie gets elected president, he's going to be making about $5,000 a year that he can actually spend.
But anyways, very eloquent. My hat's off to you.
Well, thank you. I love Chris. He and his wife are good friends of mine, and politics will never stop that. But I don't agree. He's from a part of the world that people think about this stuff a little different than I do, and I know they're wrong. I really know they're wrong. That's just all there is to it. And I understand that it's nice to be able to think about the world as a super peaceful place, and we should all get along, and we should all give each other a hand up and all that stuff. But sometimes you just got to support your own, take care of your own family first, and that's what our government's number one goal is, or should be their goal should be, is to take care of the Americans first, and then charity starts at home. We can help out the rest of the world, but we've got to make sure we're strong first.
Oh, how about this? Obama stopped funding the military until it was literally falling apart, so that all his low-life scumbag voters could stay at home and get probably, $8,000 or $10,000 a year without working. Now, there's no one here that can debate what I just said.
No one wants to. Yeah.
So Ray, I looked it up. It says that it had the PEN update. I don't know what that means.
Well, I can tell you this. It's expensive. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Now, here's what you really should do. If you really want one of those radios, which I don't agree, I don't think you have a full understanding of what you have there for radios, but I would sell both of them and buy the Kenwood. But if you don't buy the Kenwood, I would sell both of them and I'd buy the Anon, because the Anon's a much better all-around radio than that thing is. But the Anon suffers from the same problem. It's 100 kilohertz spacing. I don't think it's any better than either one of them.
Yeah, the Anon, though, is a lot more expensive, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think they're that expensive. Yeah, see, here's the Anon, 700 DLA. That's what everybody's running. They're 126 dB at 100 kilohertz, so they're not good.
Doesn't Anon have more you can do with software being open source and cheaper?
Yes, that's the whole thing. The software is free, where with Flex you have to spend $300 every time you want to upgrade it.
No, it's only 200.
Okay, but even 200. So if you had to upgrade it once every year or two, you're spending a lot of money. You might as well buy the Anon. I think the Anon has a better sounding transmitter. I know it has a better speech processing setup. It has that real fancy speech processing deal. And the Anons, you know, like I said, if somebody forced me to buy an SDR, I'd buy the Anon, although I wouldn't honestly buy either one of them. I mean, if money's no object, okay, you know, I always say, because when I was younger, I always would, when we went out with somebody, I was always going out with somebody who was cheap. So, you know, they'd either pull out their calculator at the end of dinner and add up what they spent and add up what you spent, and they'd give you, you know, less money, and of course they wouldn't even pay for the damn tip. But if money's no object, it's simple. You just either buy the Kenwood or you buy the radio Randy has, one or the other. They're the best two radios by far. Now, personally, for the way we do things, the Kenwood's the one to buy, because it's only 1/3 the money, and it gives you the same amount of radio minus the other receiver, which you really don't need. But I mean, personally, I think right now, if somebody honestly asked me what's the best radio out here, I think it's the Kenwood, and not because I own one, just because it is. It's the best radio, and certainly for the amount of money it costs, it's a super bargain.
Okay, so what I'm reading here is the PIN update was to increase the power supply to only the 67 and the 67R model. The 65 model came out after the the original release was June 11th, 2014. Any radios before that needed to get this hardware update, and the 65s did not need to do it. They were unaffected.
And you have which one again? The 65 or 67?
I have a 65.
Which wasn't tested. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah, you're saying it wasn't tested. So all I know, there's two 6700s tested. One tests, you know, pretty good, and the other one doesn't test very good. So I don't know what that means, but there's obviously it. Look. Here's my idea of Flex. Flex comes out with a new radio every year or two, at the very least. And all the crazy Flex people right out and buy the new radio for whatever it costs. I think they're all, you know what, nuts. That's my opinion, because, I mean, you know, if you buy one good radio, like I say, look, the radio I had, the 7600, I had that radio for 5 years. I could have kept that radio for 10 years, and even at 10 years, it's still better. It's still a better performing radio than any of the SDRs. It may not be as good at 2 kilohertz, but it's certainly not going to be overloaded by this crap out behind my house.
Okay, so I'm just reading an article that said that the 65 and the 67 receiving capabilities are so similar that there was no need to test the 6500 separate from the 6700.
Well, that's all well and good, but you still haven't told me why one 6700 tests really good and the other one doesn't.
Because that one was the pre-June 14th model.
Okay, so how much does it cost to send the 60? Now, I think we already determined this. You can't send your 6500 back and get it modified to that new 6700 high performance thing, right?
No, it's already done in it. It doesn't need to be updated. It was already done in that model. It was only the 6700 that required it. And then there's no charge. It was a free fix from Flex.
Well, I'd love to know what they did to make that much difference, because that's a big difference. It must have been a software upgrade then, the only thing I can think. Because if they did it for free, it had to be just software.
Maybe they had to change out some filters or something too.
But they wouldn't do that for free.
If they knew there was something not performing where it should be, I bet they would. They're really about reputation. I called and I was amazed with the customer service. Totally 180 from ICOM or Yaesu.
Well, then I have to give them credit for that, because I can assure you that the only thing you get from ICOM is a pack of lies.
Yeah, the community is very open, and I guess if you go on their help pages, most of the help is done right in the community of owners, and then if you can't find something there, then usually someone from Flex actually will contact you, or they'll come back to you on the community and try to help you there.
So, Tom, did you talk to the adjuster for the house yet? KC3KXB N1DVL. Well, somebody else, go ahead, say something. I'm going to stop talking.
I think you unearthed the issue with and the digital radio. Primarily because you had the tuner you had, and it provided no continuation below the band you were on. If you had, I know it, I see with the 7300 exactly what you're talking about. If I switch over and bypass my tuner, on this band, I'm seeing...
What happened? Everybody clear out?
No, stand by.
Somebody's talking.
My tuner...
Sorry about that. I can't hear him at all.
It provides all the filtering.
Yeah, but the problem with what you're saying there, Bruce, is the tuner, a different tuner than I have would knock out the broadcast band. That wouldn't probably be too much of an issue. But it's still not going to knock out the stuff coming from VHF.
It depends on how high Q the tuner is. The VHF, you're saying the VHF stuff circumvents the tuner?
I would say in most cases it probably would. I don't think the tuner is going to attenuate every frequency. Now, the tuner may attenuate, like I said, for sure, the old tuner I had attenuated the broadcast band, but don't forget, we're talking about 560 kilohertz. That would knock that, that was like on the 7610, or like, let's say my 7600, it would be like 45 dB, maybe 45, 50 dB over 9. Going through the tuner, it was an S4. So yeah, the tuner made a huge difference, but had the interfering station now been on, say, 1700 kilohertz, then the tuner is not going to make that big difference. So then the radio's got to do it. And then on the other end of the scale, even though the tuner's tuned for, say, 1930, there's still places in between where the tuner is not going to be, be an attenuator. And VHF might come right through it with no problem at all. I'm not sure that the tuner's going to knock down the VHF signals. So you can hope the tuner's going to do what you're asking it to do, but it may not. And then, of course, if you're in a situation putting the radio into an antenna with no tuner or something, then you're stuck. You really have to go with the good radio. Since the beginning of time, since radio started being made, go all the way back to when they started really looking at this stuff back in the late 60s, early 70s, probably really in all honesty, about 1975, Rode came along and started writing the receiver articles. And he kept on pointing out that the dynamic range of the receiver is the, all-important thing, because without the dynamic range of the receiver, you can't hear anything anywhere. So manufacturers, little by little, from about 1975, kept on making these very, very small improvements. And I mean really small, a couple of dB here, 3 dB, 4 dB, until Drake came out in 1978. Drake came out with that passive diode mixer, and now all of a sudden they're 25, well, they're probably 30 dB better than anybody else. And when Drake did that, then all the other companies just had to sort of toe the mark and they just had to start building better receivers. And of course the culmination of it is the Kenwood, the new Yaesu that's not out yet, and who knows if it'll ever come out, and like Randy's radio. These are the ultimate, they're the ultimate in the radios. These are standalone. You could be parked down the street from a huge broadcast station, and these radios will live in that situation. So, the 7300's fine if you live in the middle, up there in the woods, like up in Vermont or New Hampshire, and the closest high-powered station's 50 miles away or something like that. I don't think you're going to have problems. But then again, you never know. Rode says that when the sunspot cycle turns around, that those radios won't live. And I think he's I'm sure he's right, because he's the preeminent genius of radios. It's not the one strong signal that kills you then. It's when the whole band's loaded with 20 and 25 and 30 over 9 signals. Those radios are still going to fold up.
Yeah. Well, I can see it. But we're going to have to wait a long time, I think. Maybe never in our lifetime will the band come back around like it was back in the late 50s. I don't think we'll ever see that. The way the trend is, sunspot trend. Anyway, the story goes on, and I'm glad you're happy with your radio, that's for sure. And you've given everyone food for thought. Now I'm going to say 7-3. Take it easy, everyone. KD1 Mountain Whiskey.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go myself. Well, look, in my case, I had no choice. I mean, I didn't go buy this radio because I wanted to. I bought it because I had to. The 7610 was just simply not going to work at this location. It's almost in a constant state of overload. So I just had to get a different radio. But that goes for anybody that lives inside Boston. If you live in Boston, or you live in New York City, or you live in Washington, D.C., or you live in any of the big, Philadelphia, any of the big metropolitan areas, those SDR radios will not live under those conditions. They're just not going to be able to do it. They'll live maybe. Now, they won't even live on 10 meters, because on 10 meters you got to run the preamp, and once you put the preamp on, you're dead meat. So, anyway, okay, N1 DVL.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to remember that a lot of people don't have problems with those radios. Okay, a lot of people like those radios, so we're just beating a dead horse over and over and over. The people that have those radios, if they have an overload problem, they know they have an overload problem, and they have to correct it. But the people that don't have an overload problem, they have a fine radio in front of them. And let's face it, everybody sounds great in here, so why are we there's no perfect radio. There's just no perfect radio. And you buy something that you like aesthetically, you buy something that you like the way it functionality, and you get it to sound good, and that's all it takes. I mean, that's a begin and end. All right, so if you're not getting overloaded, you don't have a problem with overload. You don't have a radio that has a problem with overload. You might have a radio that has an overload issue if you move to an area that overload is a problem, but until the bands get better and signals get way bigger, you'll never know if you've got an overload problem. If you don't have a tower in your backyard, don't sweat it. Enjoy the radio you got, and that's it. Why do we got to keep beating a dead horse?
Well, how about this one last dead horse? This new radio that ICOM just came out with, direct sampling SDR VHF radio?
Yeah, and it may have a big problem. I agree. It may have a big problem, but I'm not going to buy one, and either are you, so what are you worried about it for?
I agree. Fortunately, you and I are done with VHF. But that's the biggest joke ever made, because the second you turn the preamp on, never mind turning the preamp on, just imagine putting a 26 dB gain gas-fed preamp in front of one of those radios. What's going to happen? Now, why they would come out with a radio like that is totally 100% beyond me. But here's the answer. Because they build the radio for $99 and they get $3,000 for it. That's why they came out with it. And they don't care one way or the other whether it works or not, because the average guy probably will never know anyway.
Well, I don't care either, but I don't think that they don't care. I would think that's a foolish statement because, of course, if they can't sell them, they do care. So it's probably a pretty darn good radio, and it'll be interesting to see if they get overloaded, and you'll probably never know, and I'll never know. Maybe I don't think I'll ever know, but whatever. Who cares? Let's just get off the beating on other people's radios horse tonight. I mean, every time you turn around, we're talking about what's good about this, what's good about that, and 90% of it doesn't matter to anybody because they're not getting overloaded. So who cares?
N1 SAG.
Dave, are you getting overloaded?
No, but I got that relay and it works like a champ.
Okay, good. Happy to. Which relay? Didn't I send you a relay?
No. Gary got a relay from MFJ. It has double poles, 120 volt electromagnet. And I just paralleled up the contacts, and they're rated at 18 amps. So I don't know if we can comfortably say that it's times two now. I don't know.
It would be. It would be. But if you need relays like that, I'm like the relay king over here. I've got I've got tons and tons and tons and literally tons of relays from 5 amp relays all the way to 40 amp relays.
What's the relay for?
Yeah, well, he got 2 of them, Randy. He got one for him. I just put one in his amp, and I'll put one in my amp. It works so good, I guess. Why not?
Sure, why not? Yeah, but I've got lots of those relays if you need one.
Yeah, no, he got 2 of them. He already, he got them, and he's just got to get the right lights now, and he'll be all set. He'll be just like new.
Yeah, Mark gave me my lights for that amp that you have. They came from Mark, KA2CNF or KD2CNF. He ordered a couple sets, one for his amp, and for whatever reason, he ordered a set for my amp as well.
Yeah. No. Well, he'll get back. He'll get the right lights. You know. I don't know how that got confused. Seems like everything you order from these guys, there's confusion, you know.
I want to know when is Gary going to get on the
startup?
I think I doubled with you. When is Gary going to get on the air?
Well, I've got the amp's almost back together. All I had to do is put the lights in, put the lid on, bring it over his house.
Okay, does he have a 160 antenna?
I don't know what he's got over there yet, and I ask him every time I get, I want him to put the antenna up. He's dilly-dallied around with it. I don't know what he's got going there. He's got the power in the shack for the amp. He just had to make room, because it's in his sound studio. So then that's full. I've been in there. It's unbelievable. So I don't know. He's got to rearrange things down there so he's comfortable with it, and that may take time. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, very good. Well, Gary, get the antenna up because there's no sense to having all that great equipment of a 160 antenna. What's his radio?
He's got a little, one of those 991 Yaesu.
Oh, boy.
Why, you don't like those?
Yeah, they're okay, sure.
Well, that's what he's got. I mean, radio's a radio, Who cares,
Wait a minute. You just said a radio's a radio? You want to go back to that old pile of junk you used to run?
Yeah, well, the 991's not a FT100D.
That's for sure.
And, that old pile of junk works good, though. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Well, it's better than a fire and a rug over top making smoke signals, that's for sure.
Yeah, or a hollow log with a drum beat,
Hey, I had a FT100D. That was not a bad radio for its time. I actually, when I sold it, I made $300 more than what I paid for it.
Yeah, you keep telling me that story. I'm keeping mine. Who's this, Chris?
No, Bill, N1MBQ.
Bill, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you told me you got more money for selling it used than you paid for it originally new. So now it's in use right now. I'm using it on 432.
Yeah, I've still seen them on QRZ going for about $500.
Yeah, no, I'll never sell this one. It works too good. It's the old reliable.
You guys are talking about two different radios, I think.
Yeah, no, we're talking about FT100Ds.
Is that what you were talking about, Bill?
Oh, yeah. I had to do the fan mod on mine. I don't know if you ended up doing that.
Why, what's wrong with the fan?
There was something about it not kicking in right or running all the time. I can't remember. There was a resistor you had to add in for something.
Yeah, no, I didn't do. I never had. Or I did. Did I have the lid? No, I never had the lid off on this thing. The only thing I had off was the front face to do the open up mod.
Right. Well, it might have been fixed later down the line, but anyways, yeah, I'm sending my 7610 back. I got to get it all boxed up, and I'm sure they're not open this weekend, but I'll call Monday and get a repair thing. Can you request where it goes, by the way?
Who you asking, Ray or Randy?
Oh, I was thinking you were the one that had the 7610 that just got the display replaced.
No, that was Carl, Whiskey Golf 2 Echo.
I got the card from Matt. You want a pencil and paper, and I'll give you the address.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
I got a phone number here on the receipt if you want that, and you can just give him a call.
Yeah, it's at 269-429-2323.
Yep, ICOM Service Center, Michigan.
Right, okay.
You want his personal cell phone number?
Sure, why not? I'm sure he doesn't want people having it.
Yeah, I wouldn't give that out. No, I'm just joking. I can't give that out.
Okay, you ready with your pencil?
Actually, I just looked it up. It's online here.
Okay, well, 1792 Nash Drive.
Yep, Roger.
Okay, then that's it.
If you Google Maps that and zoom in on the satellite, it's just a house in a development.
When I sent my 703 back for repair, it went to him, and I was amazed that it was going to a regular neighborhood, and I actually looked up.
Well, you can see he's got a halfway decent house. I mean, he's doing okay.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny. I was thinking some like industrial area, a big ICOM building or something.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, and the neighbors are probably all complaining there. There's 600 UPS in and out of there all day long.
No, he's been doing it for quite a few years, so I think he's probably pretty well established and all.
Yeah, that was a double.
Who'd I double with?
Carl or Bill?
Bill.
I think I was saying I wonder if he gets paid by the fixing job or if he's on some sort of a salary or something with ICOM.
I'm sure he gets paid by the job.
Yeah, you should ask him when you go to Dayton. He'll be out of Dayton.
Yeah, who's going to Dayton here?
Louis.
I'd like to go to Dayton, but I don't think I'm going to have time to go. But I'd like to go because I'd like to meet Matt and just sit down and chat with him. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Bernie's going, Cape Ron. He's heading over there. He went to Hamcation also this year.
When is Dayton? What's the weekend of Dayton? May, like middle of May?
Yeah, I believe so.
Where's Good Mike? Is he still here? Do we know yet when Good Mike is going to have his surgery? That sounded like Matt out in South Dakota whistling. Oh, there's somebody weighing a noise.
Yeah, a lot of noise.
Yeah, the band noise has come up. We got, I guess, right, lightning storms coming in for tonight, right, Carl?
Yeah, I was looking at the lightning map. The closest is in Pennsylvania, but all down across the Virginia and Carolinas, there's one big swath of lightning.
I must have something set on the radio correct because I have no noise floor. I don't hear anything.
Well, deaf radios will do that for you.
Ouch.
If you're not hearing anything, you're right. Something's not set right, because I got an S9 plus noise level.
I'm even getting like S5 on the bog, and normally that's nothing.
So the weekend after Mother's Day is Hamvention, so maybe we can take that off.
No.
Maybe we can't. No, we can't?
Oh, you can't take off the weekend that I want to.
Oh, well, it's Hamvention after all, sweetheart.
Well, it's my bathtub, sweetheart.
Oh, it's her bathtub.
Boy, she was quick to say no on that one.
Don't worry, I'll change.
Honey, go right ahead.
Hey, Randy, you get your hot tub yet?
No. We haven't got the bathtub installed yet either.
What kind of bathtub?
It's a regular bathtub, bathtub.
Well, what's it made out of?
Bathtub material. What are you, some kind of an idiot?
Well, it could be one of those old clawfoot cast iron bathtubs.
No, it's not one of those. But you're right. That's probably, I guess if you know us well enough, you would think that that's probably the way we would go.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You put two of them out in your backyard, and you can each get in one like they do on the advertisements.
That's right. Watch the sunset.
They still make cast iron bathtubs.
Hey, Tom, did you get your hot tub fixed?
The decibel level of the noise floor is? On my radio, it's showing about 104, minus 104 to minus 100.
I don't go by decibels. This has an S meter. It says, Bill, excuse me, but this is a ham radio.
Yeah, this is a computer. I can analyze every part of signals and everything. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice features on that radio. I'm not a big fan of those radios just because they don't turn me on too much, because obviously I like what I have. But I'll tell you, I have a lot of respect for those radios. I think that they probably do an awful lot of things pretty darn well.
Well, and the good thing is, they're constantly improving. The new software, you do have to pay for it, but for $200, I don't think it's that bad when you see how much programming goes into these, the software of this.
Well, and they're not a really expensive radio to buy at the beginning. I mean, they're just not that expensive. So, you get quite a bang for your buck right there. I too, would probably, if I were going to buy one of those myself, I would go with the Anan, from what I understand. Most of the guys that I know that were big Flex fans have all switched over to Anans, and there's a reason for that. I'm not sure what it all is. I don't think it all has to do with the price of the software. I think it's something to do with functionality of the radio. But to me, I've got the last radio I'm probably going to buy for a long time. So, whatever. I can tell you that I think that you sound better than I've ever heard you sound. So, I think you got a winner there. And it sounds like you like it a lot. And really, that's the most important thing, right? As appliance operators here, we have to like what we're running.
Myself, personally, I like playing with the buttons and the knobs and nice.
If I'm only going to get $2,000 or something for it, I'll keep it for that price.
Yep, I agree with what you said, Tom, and also with you, Bill. I mean, you're not going to get more than that for that radio because it just isn't worth it. When you can buy a brand new 7610 for $2,700 delivered for free, that's you're not going to get. What can you get? I mean, you're going to get a radio that's got a lot less warranty left, and first of all, you got a radio that there's known problems, and you're going to buy one with 50% of the warranty for 90% of the price. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep, true. I understand. So I think that I'll send it out there, get it fixed, and Ray had a good point. If I am going to sell it, that would be the time to sell it. I'd have the paperwork that it was gone over and everything taken care of. That could have been a problem. So that's a good point Ray had.
Who wants to buy a radio, though? A, it's used, and B, that has potential for more problems because they don't have a fix for the display yet. So they're saying that display may go bad again. I mean, who wants to buy a radio with those kind of problems? I certainly wouldn't want to do that.
Do you think that's the reason the pricing has dropped so significantly? I'm just wondering. I wonder what the price will be out at the Hamvention also, because it always goes down that time of the year.
Well, the new ones that are coming out will go down that time of the year. I imagine the Yaesu will probably make an appearance at that time. But yeah, what will they go down to? Are they going down because of the problem? I would say that they are probably going down because of the problem. And I think that ICOM probably is afraid that Yaesu is going to put out a really great radio coming out at Hamvention, and immediately the day that Yaesu, releases their new radio, ICOM sales are going to drop off significantly. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to knock their sales way up before Dayton. So I wouldn't be surprised if the price went down significantly some more. And with the release of the new Yaesu, they go down some more. So I would, if I were you, I would put that radio for sale immediately and see what you can come up with if you're going to sell it, because the price of that radio is just going to go lower and lower.
Yep, this is true. So you think that's when the Yaesu will be officially released? My understanding was it was supposed to happen way before that, so there must have been some delays.
Well, yeah, I understood the same thing, but, who really knows? But the thing, that seems like the time that people want to release radios, or companies want to release radios, and that certainly would be a good time to release it. And they probably have been buying displays from the same manufacturer. I would imagine that there's probably not that much difference between these displays on these radios. It's funny how they're all the same size, right? So if they're buying displays, or they were buying displays from the same manufacturer, they may have the same problem potentially as ICOM had. So they may be. They may have had to put the brakes on things and change out a lot of displays. Who knows?
I heard today at DX, they said that the people that was making the displays for ICOM went bankrupt.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I heard it on the forum, the 7610 forum, that they're no longer in business.
That could be real bad.
Well, they have a new supplier for displays, and they're testing them right now. And I'm sure if they like what they got, they'll start popping those babies in. But the thing is, you got to remember that, like what Matt was saying out at ICOM Service, that if you've got a radio with a bad display, get it out here now because I'm running out of displays. So that tells you right there a whole lot, because if that company was potentially going out of business and then finally did fail, that means they're all coming from the same company and they all have the same potential of failing again.
That might be worth waiting then to, if you wait too long, you're out of warranty, and then you're probably pretty screwed.
From what I read on the ICOM forum, that ICOM will honor the warranty, even beyond the warranty on a display. If you've got a bad display, even after the year is up, they're still going to honor that warranty.
Wow, that's impressive. That's the right thing to do. Kudos.
That's just something I read on the internet, so take it for what it's worth, right? It's one of those things that, is it true or not? Really, who knows?
Yeah, Randy, is Carl still on the air?
Yes, he is.
Well, you're right about those relays, because my buddy bought the same amp, and his relay was seized up too, so I don't know if I fixed mine, but I imagine it's seized back up again. I don't know, I have to take the lid off and check it, but he got another relay for me too, so I've been checking his all night, and the thing works good. And I should be all right with putting one in mine too. Hopefully it'll be just
your
fine.
Old one, right?
And so you're the one that told me on the internet. You heard that a lot of the users with this amp have been, found that startup relay seizes up. It just shorts out, and all you got to do is throw your ohm meter across that 20 ohm resistor. If it doesn't read 20 ohms with the lid off, then push the button up and down. If it does read 20 ohms, then it should. I think should go to short. I forgot. But you got to check that resistor. That tells you if the thing is seized up, yes or no, and when SAG.
Well, you just cleaned yours up, right? You didn't replace it.
Right. I cleaned mine up, and I put it back in there, but I don't know if it's still working. The amp's been working fine. You hit the switch, the thing comes on. You know what I'm saying? But he bought 2 relays. He got one for me and one for him. So I just finished putting his in his amp, and I still got to work on it. I got to put a light. You got to get some headlights for the meters, and they sent them the wrong ones for the lights. But anyway, then I'll put the one in mine. It should be easy in mine. When I put mine back together, I use spade connectors so that I can zip the thing in and out of there pretty quick.
Yeah, as long as it's working, you're probably okay if the fuses aren't blowing.
On mine, yeah, no, I haven't had any problems with it. After we've sorted out the bad tube, short it out too. But yeah, I did. I took mine apart and fixed it. But who knows? I doubt if it. I bet you it just welded itself back up again. I doubt if it's working. We'll know when I'll take the lid off. Not tonight, probably not tomorrow. But when he brings me the other relay, and he'll bring me the other relay, and then I'll worry about it. But that, and I probably want to get his amp all together, and I'll run it and put it in place here while I'm working on mine, and I'll run his, make sure the thing. I already ran it, I already tested it when we brought it home. The thing works great. It's just another good running amp,
Okay. Gee, I wonder if I ought to have a spare one on hand just in case. Well, we'll have to see. Hey, and on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go upstairs and have a snack and do a couple things. So I'll say 73 all around to everybody. WG2E.
Okay, Carl, 73.
73,
Good night,
Carl.
73, KC3KXB.
Good night, Carl. WA2E.
Good night. Okay, Tom, Doc, everybody, we'll catch you all tomorrow. I think I'm going to unplug things as well because I think the lightning is coming. See you later, 7-3.
Sleep well, Carl. Doc, N1SAG, Dave here. Did you ever race with a guy named Soltis? He ran the 0 in modifieds.
00. The only one I can think of. Well, that was Tom Smalley. Oh, never mind. I don't know. Maybe.
Wait. There was only one number 0 that raced. Doc, do you know who the world famous number 0 is?
No.
Lou the Monk Lazaro.
You're talking dirt track modifieds?
Yeah, dirt track modified. The most famous dirt track modified number 0 was Lou. They called him Lou the Monk Lazaro. His last name was Lazaro.
All right. When did he? Is he still racing? This guy just won a feature somewhere in the last year or two. I think it's one of the first, or maybe the only feature he's ever won. But his son, I'm not sure if the son races or not, but the son has a fabricating body shop here in Torrington still, and the father was a really good fabricator and welder. Excellent with cars, built all his race cars, did all his, everything, all his weld and fit and everything. And then he'd crash them, it was always fun. And when SAG.
Man, you guys are bringing back some serious memories, man. Remember Gator Shiner, number 13, or Dick Silvernail 1, Chuck Stanton, 44, any of them guys?
Oh, Chuck Stanton, for sure.
Oh, my God, that's where I got my start from, man. He let me take his race car out at Dryden Speedway and run it around the warm-up there 3 or 4 times when I was 14 years old, because I worked on it all day and all night for days.
No kidding. Is that right? Well, that's before my time, but these are old stories when my dad was talking about who run what Studebaker and Devil's Bowl Speedway, and geez, I've heard so many good stories.
Well, maybe this guy took over that number, you know? Can you do that?
Of course you can. There's probably 50 number zeros out there.
Okay, well, he used to race big up at Lebanon Valley. I raced in Syracuse on the big track up there with him once or twice, and I never been to the other ones, Fonda or any. Well, the one down in Pennsylvania. That's where they went to a race. My buddies all crashed their airplane with their kids in it. 6 of them died, but that was all back in I don't know. Was it 80? I guess 80, 79, 80, somewhere around there.
That's horrible. That's horrible. I remember Gary Blue, watching Gary Blue race, and then he went down to race NASCAR down in Florida.
Yeah, I don't remember the names. One guy, I'm trying to, it's on the tip of my tongue if I say it, Tommy, his first name was Tommy, and his last name, I forgot.
Tommy Kozel?
No, not Kozel. It was a funny last name. Not funny, but it was a 2-syllable, I believe.
How about Maynard Ferrat? Do you remember Maynard, Doc?
I think I do, yep. I remember Maynard anyway. Might not have been the right last name.
He was one of the first guys that ran knockoff wheels. He could change a wheel in the pit so fast it would make your eyes spin, because he introduced all kinds of new stuff. But Pete Corey was the one that was introducing fuel injection and all that. You know, Pete Corey lost his leg down at the third turn at Fonda Speedway, but he came back to race.
Yeah, that crap gets in your blood, you know. You can't shake it.
I haven't been able to shake it since. I mean, I race whatever I can race whenever I can race. It doesn't matter to me if it's like in the old days. My dad came home, and Bruce Marticello and I were standing on the top of the push mowers, and they were riding. They were self-propelled. I was on the McCulloch, and Bruce was on my dad's Toro, and we're standing on them, holding the lever with our hands down at the governor, holding them wide open, racing across the backyard. My dad comes home. He comes running out back. He sees us 2 idiots racing across the backyard. He goes, "What the hell are you 2 idiots doing?" I said, "We were racing." "Racing? How fast were you going?" 2, 3. And I said, "Dad, doesn't matter. I was winning." And later on that night, he says, "No wonder why I always got to adjust the belts on those freaking mowers."
I absolutely love it.
Hey, Randy, wow, listen to this. My friend just posted on Facebook. He did his last boil tonight for sugaring and ended the season with 18,130 gallons of maple syrup. I'd say that was a darn good season.
Yeah, I'll see my stepson on Sunday, and I'll ask him how many gallons he's done. They always do right up there, like right around the same thing, 19,000 gallons.
Oh, man, get him to sell me a gallon. You can't get no decent syrup around here no more.
Adirondack maple syrup, the largest maple syrup producer in New York State, is who owns, my stepson owns that.
Oh,
yeah, but that's not Vermont maple syrup.
I love that stuff. And I used to boil my own, but, man, it's a lot of work for just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get someone with there Sunday. And you're right, Bill, it's not Vermont maple syrup. Thank goodness. It's New York maple syrup.
Well, if it was Vermont maple syrup, we'd have to give it to him.
If it was Vermont maple syrup, you'd probably have to pay us to take it. I'll bet you they could fix it, though, if they reboiled it, maybe.
Man, it is really coming down here.
Yeah, it's raining really hard here too. It's going to be a nice night to sleep, though. I love listening to the rain when it's coming down hard.
It hasn't started here yet, but the wind's blowing like crazy.
We're sending it your way.
Yeah, I don't have the weather map on here.
Well, I'm telling you, man, the first thunder boom I hear, this radio is getting on hook.
Yeah, it was a good idea. Good policy for us all to follow.
Okay, you too, Ian.
Hello, Bob.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, I emailed you a couple of links of antenna I was thinking about building. And you never got back to me. I was wondering if you got your email.
Bob, you're mixing in with the noise. I didn't get what you were asking.
Let me turn the linear on. Hold on. Go ahead, guys. Keep talking. Hey, who was talking about that 100-pound dog a while ago?
That was Russ.
Is it a puppy? Mine weighs 170.
What is your dog?
She's an English Mastiff.
Oh, they're great dogs.
She's the most lovable damn thing you ever seen in your life. But she scares the hell out of people. A buddy of mine, Tyler, and his wife was having a baby, and the baby had all kinds of difficulties, and they had to move to Philadelphia for the whole summer, and he couldn't keep her. And they asked me if I'd take her, and I told him, I said, man, you know my last name is, and shut up, Zoe. I get too attached. And he said, no, he said, she's yours forever. So that's how we got her anyhow.
Yeah, we're big dog fans here. We love dogs. We don't like them, we love them. And you know, it's I keep wanting to get another puppy. I just want to have another puppy around. But Maureen's like, I'm not sure if we need another dog. And we got some, plans on doing a little traveling this year. And we got the Harley that we ride around on and all that. So, but I don't know. We love dogs. I love big dogs too. I had an American Bulldog, Diesel, and he went to live. Was going through a divorce, and it was a bad time. And we had pardon? Maureen loves Rottweilers. Anyway, my American Bulldog, the people that had him had 2 English Mastiffs and a couple Labs and stuff like that, and Diesel was massive. I mean, he wasn't as heavy as the English the Mastiff. He wasn't as heavy as those were, but he was a lot wider. He wasn't as tall, but he was broader, and he was like a 55-gallon drum on legs, He was just such a great dog. But they're such great protectors of people. They when they love their family, that's it. I mean, that's their family, and they're going to do whatever they got to do to protect them,
KD9, CHC.
Hello, Ron.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear me over that way now.
Yeah, pump it up. We've got a lot of lightning static out here and all that stuff.
Well, hold on a sec.
Yeah, I've got 5 dogs. I got Zoe, the Mastiff, and then I've got a Husky, Cleo, and then I got 3 little dogs.
Can you hear me now?
One's a toy poodle, and the other 2 are toy poodle Dachshund mixes. They're strange-looking dogs.
Hey, Randy, can you hear me now?
I got you, Ron.
Hey, that's all I can do right there, about 800 watts.
Yeah, you're coming across the noise now with no trouble.
Well, anyways, I won't keep it long. I just thought I'd jump in there. We'll catch you later then.
Yeah, you're doing a good job out here. Are you guys hearing Ron?
I can hear him, but he probably ain't going to hear me with my old 100 watts.
Yeah, I can hear you with your 100 watts.
Oh, amazing. I love this radio.
Well, anyways, yeah, between the static crashes, I'll catch y'all later. KD950.
I'm running a lot of power here, so I hope you're hearing me okay out there.
Yeah, I have no problem whatsoever.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you're coming through here right now with the amp cranked up in good shape, Ron.
Yeah, I don't want to run it too hard. I put new tubes in this thing.
Oh, run the hell out of it. You're making it out here to Connecticut, N1SAG, Ron. It sounds good.
Yeah, well, a little while, I guess. I don't know.
Can you hear Dave out there from Connecticut, Ron?
Yeah, I hear Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, you just got to run them hard, huh, Randy? I learned my lesson. You run them hard until they blow, and they blow you and you fix them.
Yeah, well, I got a year warranty on the tube, so about 9 or 10 months left on the tube. So I guess I don't know.
What tube you running, Ron?
572B.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. What's that, Randy?
What's that, Dave?
What's that tube he's running? It's a single tube? Is that like the one you're running?
No, he's running 572s.
2 of them or just one?
I think he's got 5 or 6, 7, maybe 8. I think maybe.
I got 4.
4? Yeah, 4. Well, they're working. It's sounding good.
Yeah, well, they're good for a kilowatt, right, Ron?
Yeah, a little bit more than a kilowatt. Not on 160. This amplifier doesn't do that great on 160.
Well, yeah, they'll drop off on 160, but still, even on 160, you should be up there 900, 1,000 watts.
Well, I talked to Guy on the door. I get doorknob capacitors. If I put those in there, I'd probably get more wattage, but oh well.
Well, they're cheap, easy to change.
Yeah, I never have messed with it.
Yeah, this amp puts out pretty good power. There's a modification that I can do to this one to put 2 tubes in it, and I kind of like to do that one day.
Hey, I got a question for you. Yeah, I remember you saying that you like the 7600 better than 7610 or something like that.
Yeah, if I were to have one of those, I would have the 7600 before the 7610, yeah.
Why is that? Because I was thinking about getting a 7600.
Well, I think the 7600 has, I know it has better filtration, like if you have somebody close in, or a strong signal that's really close, and it's, the 7610s have a tendency to overload, and the 7600 won't do that, so I don't know. I like the 7600. It doesn't have the display problem, doesn't have the preamp problem, doesn't have the overload problem, so the 7610 seems like it's an okay radio, but to me, I like the 7600 better. For my own, personal use, I would have the 7600.
And this is a 7600 here, if you're still hearing me all right, and I absolutely love this radio.
Yeah, well, they got the overhead problem. I got the 7300, and you get the overhead problem on this thing.
Yeah, if you're having trouble with your 7300, you'll have the same trouble, if not worse, on the 7610 probably. If you don't have the trouble, then you don't have the trouble, and it's a fine radio. But the 7600 is just a well-built, rugged, good all-around radio.
So there really ain't no advantage over the SDR over not having that non-SDR, right?
7600 is non-SDR. That's correct.
I know. I mean, you're saying that the non-SDR is better than the SDR radio?
Well, when I bought this radio, it's a non-SDR radio. Well, there's SDR, there's SDR, or SDR, bits and pieces in every radio. This is a, I could have bought any SDR radio. I could have bought any non-SDR radio. I could have bought any radio when I bought this radio, and I chose this one because it's traditional architecture, and I wanted something I knew I wouldn't have to worry about, and I wouldn't have to upgrade all the time, and software updates and all that. So that's why I have this radio. That's my opinion. I think there's nothing wrong with the traditional architecture.
What radio are you running? The 7600?
No, the 7851.
Well, that's even bigger, right?
Yeah, it was $12,000.
My Lord.
Hey, Randy, N1MPQ, I'm going to hit the sack here, so I'm going to say 7.3s, and we'll probably catch you tomorrow evening. Somebody, guys.
Okay, Bill. Best 73. Bill, are you hearing Ron out there in Indiana?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I heard him asking you about the 7610, and yeah, he's about a 5.7 in here to Vermont.
Now, that's Bill, Ron, and he's running a Flex radio, a 6700, I think it is, right?
6500.
6500. He's doing real good with that radio too, Ron, over.
Yeah, he's got some money tied up in that radio too.
Yeah, that's what do you got? $2,000 in that, Bill?
Yeah, I picked it up used for $2,000.
That's a good deal.
He's got a 7600 for sale.
I did real well on that. Matter of fact, I've got a 7610 I'm going to be selling.
Oh, you got a 7610 for sale?
Yep, I'm going to be sending it back to ICOM and making sure everything's okay in it, and probably have the display replaced. It doesn't really have that much of an issue. It does have a little bit of a lighter on the right-hand side of the screen, but not too bad. But it should be better than new when it comes back from ICOM.
All right. How much you selling the 7610 for?
Probably right around 2,600, 2,500.
Right. Okay. Well, I was thinking about. I've seen those 7600s, Randy. I'm thinking about dropping a dime on one of them.
I wouldn't hesitate if you could find a really good one that's clean and you know the rig. I wouldn't hesitate.
It's got lots of knobs and buttons.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyways, I'm gonna clear out of here and let you guys get back to your queue. So thanks for letting me jump in there, and we'll catch you later. KD9 CHC Sweetwater Lake, Indiana.
Okay, good night, Ron. 73. KEB2ZVP.
KD2IMX. WA2EF. And good night, Ron. Good night, Bill, if you're leaving. WA2EF.
N1MPQ. 7-3, guys. Have a good evening. N1MPQ, clear.
Yeah, we're going to call it a night here, too. I got early morning. We're testing two techs in the general tomorrow. So I'm going to say goodnight, Randy, and the rest of you guys in there. 73s, KC3, KXP.
Okay, hey, Tom, before you go, your airplane didn't get damaged, did it?
No, I got it in the hangar.
Oh, all right. Okay, we'll let you go. All right, N1SAG, 73s.
Okay, good night now, Dave.
Katie, Plan X.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, how about it, Randy?
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I hear you fine.
Roger, I said I'd send you an email to your email. It was 3 links. And I was thinking about building. Did you get to your email?
Oh, I did see that. I kind of just, I didn't get back to you, and I'd forgotten about it, to be honest. I get so many emails, with work and everything, you know. It was a vertical, right? You were going to do some kind of a 27-foot vertical?
No. This is it's 460 meters, but it's a shortened version. That's why I wanted to ask you. But when you get a chance, just revisit the email and get back to me, okay?
I will. I'll try to. Remind me again. I mean, it's just, I get so busy, and if I don't see, that's the problem with not responding to emails when you first get them, because then you wind up forgetting about them because you got 13 more that are pressing,
No, I know. Believe me, I know. It's just it's like a question, that's all. But I'm not going to build it right now. I'm thinking about building it. So when you get a chance, just look at it and get back to me. With that, I'm going to sign off. I bet everybody who can hear me 73s. I'm going to short everything out and hook up some television.
Okay, 73s. I'm on SAG.
Roger. Katie to INX. We're clear. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, Bob, have a good night. Best 73 and sleep well. We'll see you later. KB2ZVP, you're sounding good.
So Ron is running a 7300 out there in Nineland?
Yeah, Sweet Lakes, Indiana.
But he doesn't like it. He's getting top-end overload?
Yeah, he's having some issues, apparently.
Yeah, no, I haven't had any here. Of course, the nearest big phone and emergency repeater is like a half mile away. It's straight across the valley. I don't hear any of it.
Well, there's quite a few fellows on the Rooster Net in the morning that got those 7300s, and I ain't heard any of them complaining.
Yeah, well, sometimes if you're in a high-energy field, radio or a big AM tower, big AM station close by, I don't know, Ray has trouble with he's got a repeater station right on top of him. I mean, he can throw a stone at it and hit it.
Oh, man, that's got to be hell.
Well, that's why he wound up with that Kenwood. He says that thing is impenetrable. He says it works real well. It's got good rejection,
Yeah, but it's a Kenwood.
Yeah, well, he had a 7600, right, Randy? Now he's got your 7600, and he had never had an overload with the 7600, did he, Randy?
No, he never did. And he sold the 7600 to get the 7610, and ever since he sold the 7600, he regretted it. So he was having all kinds of troubles and this, that, and the other. And I had this radio, and the 7600 was extra to me. So then I sold my 7600 to him for an incredibly good deal. And then he got that, and he was using that till he got the Kenwood and everything straightened out, and now he's got the Kenwood, and now the 7600 is extra to him. And I really ought to buy it back from him just to have it here, because that's just a great radio. But I don't know if I need a spare radio right now with this thing. But yeah, he had a lot of problems where he lives, and he lives in a location that's unique to him, not like most of us live, and that's what I get a little crazy when I hear him nonstop putting down radios, putting down this, putting down that, and he's always talking about how great the Kenwood is. Yeah, it's a very nice radio, very, very nice radio. No, there's no doubt about it. It's a great rig, but you can't keep putting down everybody's radio because they're going to get overloaded. If they don't live in a spot that gets overloaded, they're not going to get overloaded. Now we'll see what happens when the band gets better, because according to the great engineer, what's his name? Yorick Road, according to him, when the bands get better and there's a lot of activity on the bands, these SDR radios are just going to get wiped out. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, and I'll probably never know because I don't have one of those radios. But he runs one of these radios, the 7851s. Actually, he's got get this, he's got 0000 number 1, 7851. So they think that's pretty cool. He's got the first 7851 off the assembly line from ICOM that they put a serial number on anyway. But he thinks that's a real good rig, and if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. But, you know, I get tired of hearing about how bad everybody else's radio is. You know, you know, we don't have to keep going over that. You know, if you live in an area that you're going to get overloaded, well, you're going to get overloaded, and you already know if you got a bad radio or not.
WB2TTV.
Hello, Bob. Speaking of bad radios,
it's Mike.
I'm sorry. Did I say Bob? Mike, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking at an email that I've got from Bob. I'm reading an email that he sent me, Bob, and I was reading that, thinking of that when you came in. Mike, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to apologize. Just listening, and actually, I listened in earlier when Ray was talking about all that stuff, and then a little after 9, I do a net on 80 meters and a bunch of friends, and just finished up with that about 10 o'clock, and I come back here and kind of still talking about that. But Rhodes is right about when the band gets filled up, and I had an experience lately with my 7610 that kind of proves that out. I have a neighbor who, unfortunately not all the time, but produces noise on 6 meters that's like 20 over S9. It's a whole band. I mean, you tune across to 54 megahertz and it's still like around 20 over S9. Well, if you turn the noise blanker on, it blanks it out completely, so you wouldn't even know it's there. However, even with the thing blanked out completely, the overflow light's on because of the whole band filled with the 20 over S9 noise, even though nothing is, super strong. But, that's kind of what he's saying, I believe. Back over to you, WB2TTV.
Yeah, I guess that's what he's saying, but, we'll see what happens. Rode is talking about when the band gets real busy again and a lot of big signals on, and you're running an SDR, it's accumulative. The interference from major big stations just keep accumulating, and eventually it overloads the receiver. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but I guess we'll find out at that time.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's the noise is like, all those signals across the whole band. Everybody is 20 over S9, and that overflowed it. Actually, a little bit to my surprise, but there is a way to calculate that. You can have one signal that's like minus 10, and that'll overload it if it's off frequency, and then 2 might be, I don't know, I'm just guessing, minus 15, and it keeps coming down with more and more signals. As you say, it all accumulates, and if the band gets real busy, and on 6 meters you don't have the pre-selector. But, I've done a lot here with the 7610, and And, I've taken care of all the problems that I have here and the things I didn't like. And I got the big screen on it now. I stole my computer screen, and I got a 22-inch monitor behind it that I'm looking at right now, which is pretty nice. And I wouldn't want one bigger than that because you're kind of out of your field of vision if you, at least if it's up relatively close. But and I put the original one back on the computer that it had. So it's working out nice. I'm going to be doing the IQ out and running the HD SDR on it. They got a cable on order now to do that. So I like the radio better now. Certainly that preamp that I built made a difference. And while it still has some faults, I think I can live with it the way it is now. And even in Ray's case, if it would have been me, I could have corrected his problems too. And you probably got the email I sent you. They got a new display manufacturer, Randy, for the 7610. It's come through the IO forum there, the 7610 forum, and a couple of days ago. And the old display manufacturer is actually going out of business, and I wouldn't be surprised if ICOM was at least partially behind that. But the new manufacturer is probably going to make all the displays for all the radios from here on in. ICOM has, and they're presently having displays under life testing, so they say, life testing, 30 or 60 days. Back to the group, WB2TTV.
Yeah, I remember when that first came out. It's been out for a few weeks, that information about the display, the new manufacturer and the old manufacturer and going out of business and all that. When Ray first came out with, I had got an alert on my phone about that. So, well, that's good. There's a chance that they may have a new display that's going to work and hold up and all that. And it's too bad that it went the way that it went. But I'm wondering if that's maybe why Yaesu is holding up their release, because maybe they had the same manufacturer. So it seems like they're all about the same size, these displays. So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if they were using the same manufacturer and they had to wind up changing a whole bunch of displays, or they're just dragging their feet till they're dating, or they're just not quite ready to release them yet. But who knows? All I can say is my radio is working well, and my display is black where it's supposed to be black, and blue where it's supposed to be white, and blue where it's supposed to be blue, and white where it's supposed to be white. I keep jumping ahead. I can't keep a thought going. I'm getting tired, and I guess I should just punch it in and head to bed. But anyway, the thing is, Mike, with your radio, you were able to correct it. Most hams can't do what you do, so you're 1 in 1,000, and that's the problem, right? When you've got a radio like you had that gets overloaded, if you were the average ham, let's say you switch places with 10,000 or 100,000 other hams, how many of them would have an overload problem that they couldn't fix? Probably about 99,000 of them out of 100,000. So you were able to correct the problem of the radio. Most people can't. So if they buy that radio and they live in a place like you live, why they have, 100% of them have problems like you're having. So then you got the overload, you got the display problem, you got the preamp problem, and eventually it gets a little bit more than you want to bear. So that's where the ICOM 7610 has its shortcomings for sure.
Yeah, well, as far as the preamp problem, right now I'm not using the preamps in the radio. I'm using my preamp, but I probably could fix that. I guess it's a regulator problem there, and it gets easily swapped out. Actually, I probably could put in something with better specs and maybe heat sink it better. 746 Pro, they had the backlight transistor going out on that for the display backlight, and I put in a transistor, had 3 times the specs, and then I heat sinked it to the metal can around the circuitry for the backlight, so that won't ever go bad. But you're right. That's but on the other hand, I always say, well, it's better it happens to me than the average ham too. So, but like you're saying, if you live in an area where you're not loaded, it's $1,000. It's a great value for a radio with all the display and all the features it's got. I mean, you just can't beat it. And so be happy. But, like Ray was saying, you move into some urban area, a large urban area, you got multiple AM stations, FM stations, all kinds of stuff under 60 megahertz, and you're probably going to run into problems. And I also have the noise canceller here, which is pretty nice, where I could, even that stuff on 6 meters I mentioned, I actually could cancel that whole band, and in that way take the overflow light off, although I have that now hooked in with the 746 Pro. I'm looking at, when I go to Deerfield in the week, I'm going to be looking for another JPS noise canceller that I can modify over. And so there was a guy, he comes every time, like $100 he wants. I think I'll offer him $50. But anyway, I doubt you're going, any of you guys, but I find that to be the best around here anyway, as far as being pretty big. Actually, a lot of times I can go and with something on my mind that I want to buy and actually find it there at a good price. So, Randy, it sounds like you're getting tired, and I'm always in here late, so if you want to head off and get you a little bit of sleep here, go ahead. I was tired last night, and Logie, I was on the air, and I wasn't making a lot of sense. Back to the group, WB2TTV.
Okay, very good. WB2TTV, KB2ZVP. Well, it's getting late, but that's the thing. You got to look at, you're a unique individual that you can fix all those problems. A lot of the hams can't, and when you buy a radio for $3,000, you don't want to have to fix the problems, right? So even if you can, you don't really wanna. You should have a radio that you can use, like a 7600, which is 10-year-old technology. They don't get overloaded, like Ray's 7610s did. So I can understand people getting frustrated with all that. I would think that the radio that I have probably won't get overloaded, but I wouldn't think it should for the amount. I'd be really, really unhappy if it got overloaded. If it had overload problems for the cost of this thing, but even at $3,000, who wants to have that problem? So again, you're more than able to handle fixing it up, and I'm happy about that. But most hams wouldn't be able to. Although if you you could probably offer a kit and sell those things and as an SDR fix-up, the ICOM SDR fix-up or something like that. You could probably make a bunch of money. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Maureen's yawning, I'm yawning. It's raining outside really hard, and it's sounding more and more to me like it's time for me to go to bed. I mean, I've got to get up early in the morning and go to work in the morning. So, Mike, wonderful to hear you as always, and Dave and Doc, and I'm not sure who all is still out there who's listening, but best 73 y'all. Here's KB2ZVP.
Have a great night, Randy. See you tomorrow. WA2E.
Okay, Doc. Have a good night.
Catch you later, Randy. 73s, everybody. I'm checking out, too. N1SAG.
Yeah, I got to be up 4 in the morning to get on the rooster net, so I have to run the over the internet thing for him. So good night, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow. 7P3, WA2ES.
Okay, Doc, nice meeting you. N1SAG.
Yeah, okay, 7-3's Randy, and as I've said before, given a choice, I would pick your radio as the one that would be the best of what's available today. As most people, I can't go to $12,000. It's a little more than I could justify. But anyway, I'm glad you have it, and you probably won't see any overload problem, even if you go to an urban area. Okay, 7-3s, and I guess everybody's gone from 1930. Okay, and one more thing, it's another maybe week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'm going to be off for the summer. I disconnect and take antennas down and whatever for the lightning, as I had a real bad lightning strike in 2010. So trying to get as much ham radio in as I can. 7-3's guys, WB2 TTV, off and clear.
Well, hang on a second, Mike. Before you run off, are you going to? Will you be accompanying John to the next Toad Harbor Summit on June 15th? I hope.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Yes, I was planning on asking Carl if he's around. Because I don't know, there was something recently where he and I went in separate cars, and we could have. And Carl says, "Well, you could have went with me." So we thought, and that would be easier than having John go out of his way. But yes, I was thinking of doing that. I guess it's down at the same diner, and that was fun. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Randy.
Oh, no. What are you talking about? This is the summit, Mike. This is not breakfast. This is the summit, okay? We meet at the Robert Post Park in Kingston. It's we rent a pavilion. We have a big barbecue, and we get to spend hours there. Nobody can throw us out. So it's an overnight event. Carl won't go. Yeah, Carl won't go overnight. And John probably, I would imagine he will. So if you want to go overnight, you can go down with Carl and go home with John, or we'll give you a ride home happily. No sweat. We could give you a ride home too. We go right past your place, right? So we could do that. Or if you just want to go down for the day, go down with Carl and come back. But this is the big summit where it's a barbecue, and we don't have to worry about holding up the back end of a restaurant for hours and hours just gabbing. And it'll be a lot of fun if you could come down.
No, I'd like to come down, and probably wouldn't be overnight. If Carl's interested, I'll come down with him and then go back with him, and I think that would be sufficient for me. But I had a lot of fun at the restaurant, and I can see what you said. Although we felt like we were there quite a while, it was actually like over noon hour and the like, and had a good time. So thanks, Randy. WV2 TTV.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's that restaurant. Those people are really nice, and we're going to go there. We'll go there for breakfast on Sunday. So what we do is this, Mike. We'll get together at the summit on Saturday. 10, 11 o'clock, something like that.
11 or 12.
10 or 11, 12. Maureen's like, she just wants, she wants to sleep in. So between 11 and 12, and we'll get a grill set up. There's a charcoal burner there. It's all covered up if we need to, if the weather's not good. We'll probably have a little antenna shootout. Mike will be there with his high Q. I'll have my high Q all worked up and ready to go. And if any of the other guys want to compare their antennas to the high, yeah, it's really windy out here. It's starting to storm pretty good. Anyway, we'll have an antenna shootout. John will be set up with his big camper up on the hill, and he'll be reading the signals and all that. So it's going to be, you better start closing windows, Maureen. I'm not going to get up. This one over here next to the amp would be the one to start with.
Go ahead, honey.
Oh, my God. So I got to get out of my chair here and close the windows because we're getting a big storm coming in, and the winds are 28 miles per hour at the minute. And I just saw 32 a second ago. So there, I had to close the window. But anyway, Mike, So we'll have a barbecue. We'll have lots of food. Don't worry about bringing anything. We'll have lots of food, lots of drink, and then if we stay, we could go to PT Surplus, which is a good trip. You would enjoy that. A lot of electronic stuff over there in Kingston, and then we'll leave the park and go back to the hotel. We've got a room rate with a bunch of rooms. And then we'll hang out there on the patio if the weather's good, or somebody's room if the weather's not good. And in the morning we'll get up on Sunday, and then we'll go down to the Kings Valley restaurant where we had breakfast that time, and we'll have our breakfast. And then we'll go from there over to the lighthouse. We'll take a short ride to the lighthouse entrance, and we'll hike back to the lighthouse down there. I forget what the point it's at, but we'll go to the Kingston Lighthouse and hang out there, and then we'll walk back to the cars and say our goodbyes and hugs and all that stuff, and then we'll go home. So that'll be the weekend. WB2TTV, KB2ZVP.
Yeah, good, Randy. It's in June sometime, I think around June 16th or something, I heard. And I was over to the Surplus place with John when we went down the last time. So so I did get to see all that. Okay, I'll let you run, and you can, do what you got to do there. I got the air conditioning on with the windows closed because it's still kind of humid in here. And it's kind of warm in the room. Okay, 7-3s. Thanks again, Randy. WB2TTV.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching the weather station here. It's saying it's raining cats and dogs. I've got a Vantage Pro 2 here, and it's raining at a rain rate of 2 inches and 2.23 inches per hour. So it's coming down really hard, and it's 81 in the shack and 51 outside, and it was just 56 outside. So all of a sudden this front hit, and now the storm's coming in, and the temperature's dropping, and the winds are whipping, and the rain's falling. So anyway, here we are at springtime. KB2ZVP. Good night.
Yeah, good night, Randy, and we'll catch you another night here on the air before I shut off for the summer. 7-3, WB2TTV.
So anybody else going to check in before we pull the plug here? Anybody else hanging out wanting to check in there?
Go to bed. You need your beauty sleep.
Boy, if there's anybody on here that needs his beauty sleep, it's me.
Yeah, have a good night. I've been listening for a while, as usual. And it'll be you.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah.
Is that Father's Day this weekend?
Yes, it's Father's Day weekend.
Oh, Roger.
Is that okay?
That works for a lot of people. It just won't work for me on the Cape. We got car shows. N1QW1 on a QRP 703 radios, 5 watts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's. I know it's kind of a hard weekend, but where we do it is a real popular place, and it's kind of the weekend that we were stuck with because there's a lot of horse shows in that area, and it's a really nice place, and it's nice because it's easy to get to from people from Connecticut, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, Rhode Island. You know, it's a little bit further from the people out west in New York and like that, but we're a hardier bunch anyway, so we don't mind driving a little bit. But it's where we went last year. It was really, really good, and we had a good time, and it'll be the same this year. But the fact that it's Father's Day weekend, I know, is not conducive for everybody, or not great for everybody. But it's the weekend we're going to do it, and the people that can make it, great, and the people that can't make it, it's unfortunate. We'll miss them, but it's just how it is.
I understand. If it's a nice day, maybe we'll turn up the horsepower and try to make it. 73, my friend. N1QWN.
Okay, have a good night. 73. Anyone else out there? I guess not. Okay, KB2ZVP. I'm going to check out.